Yesterday we told you about our interesting challenge for training camp. The first day we got here, I guess I threw this out to Gordo of, all right, we both talk in drops a lot, but let's try to eliminate the drops from more than 10 years ago, ones that were very prevalent in, say, year 1 or year 2 of the ticket, and let's just kind of update a little bit with the hope of maybe we would talk a little less in drops to drive each other a little less crazy. And Junior's been keeping track of the competition, which is a very fierce competition.
Very inaccurately keeping track.
It is not inaccurate. Junior is very accurate when it comes to this. And I will report that, number one, I came out of the gate pretty cocky, like, hey, this is no problem. And it really wasn't until we went on the air. Then it was a real struggle.
You were
yesterday.
Struggling before we went on the air.
Not nearly as bad as I was once we went on the air. And caught myself several times. Had to stop just in time before I said something. But I will say, as we go into day 2 of the competition, you do have more violations. And I do think that you are having a much more difficult problem than I am.
I only have more violations because of there were some mass drop events that happened that really hurt me.
You had a double as we got back from the team dinner last night, and we arrived at the parking lot and got out, and somehow a question came up, and you repeated what John McKay and Pete Delkus said to each other, and that was a drop for a long time.
When they were both enjoying lollipops.
I want you to go ahead and do it.
They were both enjoying lollipops, I think it was, and one of them was watermelon flavored. Yeah. And Delkus asked John McKay if that's what he was eating, and John McKay said something.
We'll see how it goes.
Gosh, it must be so great to be able to say that.
It's wonderful.
So, he fired that off. He immediately called on him.
And then he tried to redirect by talking about a car in the parking lot. He wanted George and I to look at this cool model car to distract from his violation.
Yeah, hey, look at this Jeep Wrangler over here. No. It's almost like when a basketball player obviously travels and the whole bench stands up and starts pointing at him, and then the official blows his whistle, kind of like, okay, that was definitely a travel. We'll go ahead and call it. And then for some reason we're having a hard time figuring out what the second part of the double was to get him up to 8. But he definitely had a double.
The current count is Gordon with 9 violations since this challenge started on Sunday afternoon, and George with 5.
Gosh.
Sounds so like you are having a tougher time. And you know what he told me? As he approached me in the lobby this morning, we were waiting for you to circle around with the car. I said,
I self-reported, which is a good thing.
He self-reported, which is progress. It's good progress. I said, something along the lines of, hey, morning. And then he didn't say anything. He said, well, I had to stop myself from greeting you like maybe a old member of the San Antonio Spurs, informing that one of my shots does not get impeded.
Why would that be your morning?
Said hello. He said hello, and it
man.
Triggered my mind to inform him, as if he were you, that my basketball attempts at scoring do not get impeded.
Which is a drop from many years ago with the Iceman saying, "My shot don't get blocked, Craig."
Listen how much fun that was.
Say that all morning. You got to say that so easily.
Why would that be your morning greeting to him?
It's the thing that popped in my head when I saw him.
Now, there's no
My
doubt.
shot
I have a
don't
problem.
Get blocked, Craig.
But and that's how he starts his day.
Yeah. It was the
so
first
that indicates to me that he's got
my
more
first human interaction of the day.
That he has more drop loop head than I have. If you're fighting it right out of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minute ago, Gordon said, "Here's Tony," and that's an off-air drop that we've had many years. George telling us something one of his friends said.
Yeah.
Like in middle school.
Yeah, in middle school. But I then asked Gordon, why did you say that? And he looked at me and said, I don't know.
I don't know where they come from. They visit me, and I have to offload them.
You have to offload.
Yeah, it's with the ears and then the person's name.
Yeah.
That kind of counts.
I mean, we're counting. I thought we counted some off-air drops yesterday that weren't necessarily, but they're part of the whole loop head thing. We knew exactly what you were talking about. It was.
And then I have another one when Craig was trying to get out of the tent and ran into Killer.
Yeah. He did the Grego.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This morning. He did the Ho, Mo.
Oh, boy,
Gosh,
that must have been fun
easily
to do
it flows
that.
off your tongue.
I'm having so much fun over here. I'm so satisfied.
So much freedom you have.
So what if we get rid of it and he gets it really bad because he's been like an interpreter to the P1s for an entire week, and all of a sudden he gets drop loop head really bad. Well, we'll see how it goes with day 2 on the air because that is tougher. What?
Close.
That was close.
Close to what?
We'll see how it goes. It was close to John McKay.
Yeah.
No.
Don't you do all your fake protesting to the ref right now.
We're almost 48 hours into the challenge. Will each of you admit it's way harder than you thought?
Yes.
Yeah, especially this part when we're on the air. Because we just make comments all the time, and you don't even think about it.
I have ticket brain. I have severe. I'm in the late stages of ticket brain.
It's not early onset ticket brain.
No, very late stages.
This little study we're doing is showing there may be no hope for you.
No, I don't think there is.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I said I'm giving it a valiant effort. But
yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised if by tomorrow one of us said, okay, let's just stop and just go back to our regular lives. And
you tried that yesterday.
You did.
As a favor to Gordon because I knew he was really struggling. How do we know, though, especially him, because he talks to himself all the time, Gordon.
Yeah.
How do we know, Junior, that he's not going back to his room and just carpet bombing drops to himself?
That's allowed.
It's allowed, and he is. That's what I said last night after you got out of the elevator, we were all going back to our rooms, and I said, I bet both of you go back to your rooms and just sit there and drop for 20 minutes to get it all out of your system.
I will tell you, I basically recreated the Kate Delaney OJ talk show last night.
See,
by myself,
swear to you, I did not do that.
In the comfort of my own room.
In your head or out loud?
OJ was having a hard time hearing from some of the people who may have been attempting to communicate with him.
As your sponsor, I don't like to hear these stories.
No, I don't think that does you any good.
But in the framework of this challenge, I guess that's allowed because we don't have anybody there to confirm it.
Yeah.
She was wanting to know what the interrogative was from some person named Kevin.
Well, I can promise you, I did not think about that ridiculous internet talk show with the sports princess and OJ.
How many other
when I
people
went to bed last
in
night.
America were plagued with thoughts of that talk show last night?
All right. Well, it is 5:46 on the ticket. I'll tell you a funny story about yard work next. I thought about you guys the other day because when this happened to me, it had to look so ridiculous. I don't think anybody else saw it, but this is what happened. I think the worst part, at least for me, of doing yard work is using the weed eater, trim along the fence or the driveway, the flower beds. It just takes a while, and especially this time of year, even though we've been relatively cool in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's just hot. It doesn't matter if you go out and use the weed eater at 7 o'clock in the morning, which is usually the best time, but then you always have the question of how early should you use it? Should you do that to your neighbors at 7 o'clock where they hear the ring? What do you think, 7:30 or 8 before you crank that thing up?
This is on a weekend?
Yeah.
I think 8 would be nice.
Yeah. But I've heard them early because that's when you want to get started before it's 95 degrees outside. Well, anyway, there for a while, I always wear eye protection. I have these kind of like clear goggles, or a lot of times I just get lazy and wear the sunglasses. But I think that offers enough protection. I've never really had a problem with taking a stray to the eye or anything while wearing sunglasses. But there for a while, I was wearing a mask, mainly just for the dust factor. And for whatever reason, I've just fallen out of that habit. I may go back to it because the other day, as I was trying to chop down some Johnson grass that, has a pretty thick stalk, I guess I didn't realize it, but I had my mouth open. And a piece of Johnson grass, probably, I don't know, a quarter of an inch long, shot perfectly into my mouth, into the back of my throat.
You started having to do the
yeah. So it's kind of like, I'm sure when you ride your bike, sometimes you swallow a bug.
Yeah.
That's the grossest feeling ever.
Did you drop the weed eater immediately?
I had to, because at first I thought, how big is this thing? I'm going to choke. And I started doing that. And then all of a sudden, my gag reflex kicked in, and I started going like
a dog,
trying to spit something up. And finally, I just did the clearing of the throat and was able to spit it out. And it was probably about that long, and pretty. But I thought,
I hope a neighbor was watching.
Because it took a while. I swear it seemed like it took 5 minutes. It probably took about 30 seconds. But I'm sure I was convulsing, for a good 10 or 15 seconds or so. And then I never really did vomit, but I came really close to just vomiting right there. I almost made myself do that. But I just thought of, man, I looked around, no one saw. But I was kind of hoping that, well, I wish someone would have got that on video just to see what that looked like. That had to look really, really funny. And that would have been an interesting way to go, too, had it really, lodged in my windpipe, and I just choked right there in the in the grass while using a weed eater.
That would not have been a good death. No. That's not very glorious or anything.
Would you guys have handled it well if that's how I passed and didn't make it to training camp?
No. We would have had a sketch about it within an hour.
All right. That's the funny weed eating story I wanted to tell you.
Last night was our big team dinner when the whole ticket team gets together. We go out. We have a good time. We joke around, have fun, experience life together. It's always nice because we only really do that twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Twice a year, Super Bowl and Cowboys training camp. So I don't know who was the one who decided on this place, but we went to a restaurant that we've been to many times before.
It was the consensus, and it was a good place because it can accommodate a big group. That private room, kind of a private room. It's where we've gone the last few years, and everyone said, yeah, that sounds good.
It's okay.
The food is okay. The atmosphere is pretty good. The food is okay.
But is the atmosphere any better than that Italian joint that we go to?
Yes.
You're crazy. I love that little Italian place.
The only problem I have with that place that we went to last night is that they don't put us at one table, so we feel separated.
Yeah.
We're at two tables.
Yeah, we're real spread out. Like, you two were sitting the farthest apart.
Yeah.
Giorgio was at the head of the table on one end, and Craig was almost to the head of the table at the other end. And so your table, I didn't get a chance to talk to any of those people.
Yeah,
it was like we were sitting in different places entirely.
Yeah, I didn't talk really to anybody at your table.
But
even if it's one big table, that's a problem because you're talking 13 people.
Yeah.
That's hard to get that. And if you did have just one big table, I think you'd have that same issue. In other words, there wasn't 5 feet between the two tables, was there?
No, but there was a divide.
There was a divide.
It's like when you have a highway and an overpass, it splits those neighborhoods.
Splits the neighborhood.
Even though there's not really much space there.
Cream and the check as soon as they were dropping off the waters. That did not happen. And I wonder about such a large party, and I'll ask you this, Craig, since you worked in wait service for like 2 weeks one time.
6 years.
Is it a beating to have a big party, or do you like that, knowing that you basically know what kind of, I guess you don't know what kind of tip you're going to make. Well, that was included
you do, because
tip.
it's, yeah. You know,
But
you're
I
at least
swear,
making that.
back in his day, I don't think they did that much. It seems like the automatic gratuity for the large party started about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember doing it that much. I do remember liking getting the large party because it was the only table you had.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about anything else. You knew it was going to be a pretty big tip because you knew it was going to be. Mm-hmm. What was our bill last night? $1,000?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, with everything included.
13 guys.
Because Giorgio, you paid for it.
Yeah, I paid for the food.
Well, he did, but he gets reimbursed by the company.
Yeah,
That doesn't ever make you nervous, though, that the company's going to there's some policy change that you didn't know about, and you're going to get it kicked back to you, and then you're on the hook for it.
No.
You got to litigate it with them.
No.
That's
No.
never happened, has it?
Not that I know of. This is coming from the guy who doesn't turn in his expense reports sometimes.
Yeah, that's
because
the other
he never
risk.
gets around to it.
That's why it's too risky for me to pick up the entire check with the thought that I'll get reimbursed. Because there's at least a 70% chance that I'll forget to turn in the paperwork.
And that's why I gave everybody the choice. I said, I can pay for the meal, and somebody else could too. You'll get reimbursed for it, or the alcohol, which you won't get reimbursed for.
Yeah, that is split off. We had two different checks, and Donnie took care of the alcohol, and people would throw in cash. Donnie put it on his credit card, and then people handed him cash for their drinks. And Junior, you and I didn't throw in cash because we don't think we should have to pay for our own alcohol. No, we weren't drinking.
And Elf also did not drink.
Right. But it reminded me of this dude that I went to college with. And when we would go out to a restaurant, a big group of us, and we'd drink, he would do the same thing Donnie did. He would pay on his credit card, but take cash from us. And then we found out later on that he would run up and max out a credit card and then just default on it. So he was making money every time we went out to drink.
Ruining his credit score, but making money.
Ruining his credit score, yes, but making money. That's how he would get cash. So cheap.
But I would say I loved the big party because it was your only table. You could focus on it. You were guaranteed to get a $200 tip or something at the end of the night. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And when you have a group of 10 or 15 people, they're kind of getting in party mode, and they get a little ruder / more demanding.
Right. That's
it's
the thing.
Group
There's
thing.
a vibe change when you have a big party, particularly with a bunch of guys like we are.
Yeah.
So it's a rowdy bunch.
Yeah.
And they'll get snarky, and they'll just, you have to put up with more attitude.
So there was good and bad.
And the woman who took care of us is the same waitress, or whatever the term is, waiter. Same waiter that we had last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And maybe the year before that, or whenever the last time we went.
And I saw another waitress there who we had like 3 or 4 years ago. So they have no turnover at that place.
I know. They stay
Must
there.
be a good place to work.
Yeah.
Safe space.
Okay.
So that waitress that we had, kind of a short little thing, kind of hoarse voice, got tattoos.
Right up your alley.
She got the whole package.
Doubt that she does aggressive lovemaking stuff. It's fun. Like, I think she's game for a lot of stuff.
I'm uncomfortable with you talking about her like
As
Why?
am I.
Why? I'm sorry, women shouldn't just be shut up and not ever talk about it.
No, but they shouldn't be objectified the way you're talking about.
They're not objectified.
Like, hey, those tattoos, she's my kind of chick, man.
I did not say that.
That was your tone.
That was not my tone.
Yeah, it was.
I was saying that all of those things make me respect her as a person in the bedroom a lot.
On this side of the table, we were both uncomfortable with your speak.
Yep.
With my speak. Huh. I'm just saying that I really like her. I thought she was a great waiter.
We had a celebrity there last night.
That's what I heard.
Who
reported this? This was Davey reported?
Davey. I don't know the actor's name, but of course we all know.
It's like Michael Blessini or
if you watch
Barazzo.
If you watch The Bear, then you know him.
Not me.
Mikey Berzatto.
So he's the brother that
passed away.
Yes. And he's kind of the overarching protagonist in a way.
You guys both watched The Bear?
No. I've tried like 4 times.
It's supposed to be great, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the best thing that's ever happened. And man,
it's not. I watch it and I like it, and we're caught up now. They've dumped season 3, but I still don't get all the critical praise.
I know
it's good,
crazy, and it's a comedy.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not the greatest thing ever.
People go nuts over it.
I worked in the restaurant business for 6 years, and everyone says, "Oh, it's just dead on."
It's so accurate,
and it's not.
It's more accurate than the real restaurant business.
And it is accurate to a point, but they also drive it over the top for TV purposes, I guess. That makes it not that accurate.
Yeah. I know, but it's one of those shows you are not allowed to say anything negative about it.
I know.
Or you get your head bit off and people accuse you of thinking that you're better than the show and just all the ridiculous comebacks.
Anyway, he was there. Mikey was there.
Which is pretty cool. Celebrity sighting.
Yeah.
Speaking of TV shows, I know that you're going to comment on this at 8:15 today, Giorgio, so people don't want to miss this. And that is America's Sweethearts, which is the Netflix, 7-part Netflix show on the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And I have watched 5 of the 7 episodes. I watched it before we traveled out here.
Uh-huh.
And I am so in. I love it.
It's good. It's interesting.
It is really, really good. And I think that every guy should be required to watch it. Because all the people that dismiss the cheerleaders and think, it's just window dressing and it's, it's just a bunch of hot girls dancing around. And you get such a feel of how difficult that job is and how talented those women are.
Yeah.
And, I'm watching it and I don't see what Kelly and Judy see. Kelly and Judy, kind of the people who run the cheerleaders. Mm-hmm. How they can watch these people dancing and they notice stuff that
I have no
my
idea what
eye
they're
is so
talking about.
untrained, I can't pick up on it. And it's just... And the fact that those girls do that, they do all that athletic stuff with a smile on their face and you can't look like you're straining at all. Meanwhile, you're doing stuff that's impossible.
Even when you do the
body
jump thing and land in the splits.
The jump splits?
Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
It is... I'm blown away with the detailed effort that goes into every single performance that those women do.
Yeah, they're really good. And I thought about this.
It's such high pressure. It's like making a team. It's like making
it's a lot of pressure to. Sometimes the veterans come back and they don't make it. And it's really high pressure. What we'll talk about at 8:15 is. You realize, 3 episodes, 4 episodes in, that in some ways it's run just like the football team, which I don't think is a good thing.
It is strange because Charlotte is the big boss. Like Kelly and Judy
She's over all the marketing of the Cowboys.
But Charlotte, Jerry's daughter, is the big boss that Kelly and Judy have to report to. And... yeah, when Charlotte has an idea, she's the GM of that of the cheerleaders.
Correction,
basically.
Jerry's oldest daughter.
So I guess now we have to.
You said Jerry's daughter, but we need to specify which one.
Is that what came out of the court case that we have to say it that way now?
And yeah, when her head coach Kelly Finglass has an idea of how the team should go,
might be a good idea, but
Charlotte can overrule her.
May not be the final thought of how that's going
Daddy
to go.
does.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
But it's a great show, and I think that stuff is. I think it's so good for the Cowboys that they have had these television programs surrounding the cheerleaders. Back with Making the Team, which ran for 17 seasons on CMT, something like that. To this on Netflix, America's Sweethearts. It's great, and I've enjoyed a non-Dalrymple peek into that world.
Okay.
All right. But I don't know if you've gotten to the episode where there was an incident where one of the cheerleaders felt like she was compromised.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
The pay situation does kind of bug me.
Yeah, we talked about that.
When you're talking about the torture that these women go through.
They deserve a decent salary.
Yeah.
Because they're part of a game day presentation that generates $1 zillion a Sunday.
Yeah,
when they get into how difficult like the Thunderstruck routine is, like I never would have thought about that. And they're talking about how the pace of getting out there on the field is grueling. Just hitting
cover
those
a lot
marks,
of ground.
Hitting those marks, you got to hit 5 yards every whatever seconds it is. Doing that hop thing that they're doing.
It's faster than Zeke can cover them right now.
And the fact that they have to do all of their moves in concert with the people next to them, which unlike football players, you're moving all separately.
Yeah.
And they're executing all these moves with the precision of being in lockstep. It's fascinating. And some of those girls I knew from the beginning. That little Reese girl, that brunette, young woman, I should say. Although they call each other girls. And
girl from Bama?
Yeah. I knew the moment I saw her, said she's absolutely going to make the team because that girl has that glow to her that she lights up. You know, and the way she performs is just so mesmerizing.
Yeah. But right now, let's crank up that Cowboys computer and get our Cowboys question of the day.
Hello, George. This is Cody Austin, professional car roper and tractor repairman, the totally American Cowboys computer with today's Cowboys question of the day. I'm just chilling here in the hill country, kicking up red dirt with my F-150, with my best girlie on my arm as we listen to high school football on the radio, thinking back to all those times that we ate biscuits and gravy on a Friday night with a long neck on the tailgate of a bald eagle's Levi jeans. So I was just like totally curious as to your professional opinion on the answer to the Cowboys question of the day. And that question is as follows, and I quote the following question as follows, quote, what exactly are the Cowboys doing at running back this year and how is this going to work? So give me the answer to this down-home Texas-sized question. Break me off a piece of that answer, fellow Cowboy. Let's do some yakking. American Texas Podna. Everything is bigger in Texas. Red dirt is where I like to ride my horses and prevent immigration. Texas is the true America and I am like a combination of Lone Star Bear and Rick Perry. I am so Texan it is ridiculous. Think about it this way. If Nolan Ryan and George Washington had a baby, well that wouldn't be me, because I ain't no gay sex baby. I'm PNV, all the way, and preferably the kind of PNV, where the girl doesn't climax.
All right.
Go stockyards. Cody Austin, out.
I want to hear more from Cody
I
Austin.
think that's about enough from Cody Austin.
Boy, he sounds real Texan.
He's so Texan, though, George.
Jeez. All right.
Just a quick update. I'm doing really well on our Avoid the Drop Challenge.
No, you're not.
Recovering Dropaholic Challenge that we're doing this week. George has 5 violations. I think I'm only 3 violations.
No, you have
there.
10. 10.
It's 10-5.
What scares me is that some of them fly out of my mouth so accidentally I don't even have time to think.
Yeah, he had one a little while ago where he said it, And then we both looked up at him, and he just put his head down and bit his lip like, oh, gosh, I can't believe that slipped out.
It's impossible.
No, it's not.
Dude, my brain has been saturated with drops. I would say probably 86% of my brain is filled with drops. Like, I've dedicated that much hard drive space to just drops.
I think he's right. It is impossible for him. And then George said, no, it's not. Yet he has 5 violations in the last 24 hours.
Right.
So it's also impossible for you.
But I feel like I've stepped through now, and I'm on the other side, and I'm fine.
You haven't had one today. I'll give him
You
that.
have done pretty well today. And I started off the day very shaky. We detailed this earlier in the program. We met in the lobby of our hotel at 2:45 local time to go to work. George said hi, and my immediate response, which I stopped myself just in time, was going to be a quote from the Iceman, former San Antonio Spur, telling Craig that his attempt at scoring in basketball does not get impeded.
Do we have that drop?
Why that was the response to you just saying, hey, I have no idea. Like, the drop had nothing to do with what was happening in the world at the moment, but it popped in my head, and my sick brain wanted to vomit it out.
And see, that's where I want you to get to the point where you don't start your day like that. Because that gets me off to a draining start. That just drains my energy.
Yes. But oftentimes you join me and you'll get on.
I know. I'll fire back with something. I know.
Fortunately, though, we can still say music because that's within the past 10 years. Oh, thank God we have something.
Look, I mean, just music.
God, it's worse than I remembered it. Play that again.
Look, I mean, just music.
Yay, isn't that fun?
Yay, it's so fun to drop a little bit.
Okay.
What?
That is one.
Okay.
When was that?
Isn't it fun to laugh a little bit?
That's an old Norm.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay.
Damn it.
There's violation number 11.
Damn.
I have the hardest job having to keep up with all of this.
It's like you're scoring baseball all the time over here.
Yeah. So that I write that down as Norm, isn't it fun to laugh? Fun to laugh.
Damn.
Violation 11.
All right. Let's get on to the news.
You were going to say, let's get on to something else.
I caught myself.
know, you did.
You almost Bobby Knighted
This
us
is
right
impossible. All right. Las Vegas Sands, whose leadership now owns the Dallas Mavericks, they're really making this push for legalizing gambling, and they just had some, I guess, conference or they brought together a bunch of city leaders to talk about it. I mean, they're pushing hard for this, and it seems crazy to me that it doesn't seem to be dismissed just right out of hand by everyone. There's always these news stories that pop up where I'm surprised that the vibe change has happened on it, and they're not getting as much pushback as I would expect. But someone quoted in the story, someone of note and authority that I don't.
He was going to say, I don't know right now.
At the moment.
At least he's catching himself.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Said, I unequivocally believe Texas will legalize gambling. And because of that, I think we have a fiduciary duty as representatives to be prepared for that. So they're saying even if we're against it, we think that it's going to pass. And if it's going to pass, we want Dallas-Fort Worth to be leaders in this and to get ahead of it and to be ready when it happens, where we can get these casinos built. Now, the Sands Group has already purchased 108 acres across from the site of former Texas Stadium.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to think where exactly, like on the north side of 114,
Yeah, I'm not
maybe?
sure. If they legalize gambling, the state of Texas could add $13 billion to its gross domestic product, 70,000 new permanent jobs, and 185,000 construction jobs, based off a study that was done by a guy from Rice University. And that same study predicts that DFW stands to gain $34.7 million increase in tax revenue. It'd be a huge windfall.
Yeah. And it's going to happen because the Adelson family behind the Sands Group are big money donors to a lot of big politicians in Texas, and they have a lot of friends who are big money donors. And as we have seen in the past week, when the big money donors want something,
yeah, they get it.
It happens, even though these politicians have been staunchly against gambling in Texas. When the donors come knocking on the door and they want something, suddenly they will flip, those politicians.
Now, it would require a constitutional amendment in Texas, which would have to go to the voters.
Oh, that's interesting. You put it up to a vote.
Yeah, will voters reject it?
No, they will pass it.
Support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would pass it. Maybe pretty
What's interesting
close,
to
but I
me,
think it
though,
would
is how
pass.
many people are probably like I'm assuming Giorgio is on this, which is you are very typical Texan in the sense of it's something that you probably philosophically feel a little bit queasy about, legalizing gambling, but yet you like gambling, which is, I think, what a lot of people find themselves in that position. Yeah. We like having beliefs and morals that surpass our own behavior.
Yeah.
And
I would think about it. I mean, I don't think it's just a automatic, oh, yeah, we got to have that.
Mm-hmm. Well, where do you stand on it? Would you be okay with legalizing gambling? That was kind of Dirk-esque.
Yeah.
That should count against him.
That is a Dirk drop.
It's a tough one. I really don't know. I'd really have to give it some thought.
It's a tough one for me, too, and I come from a different perspective than George because I'm not an addicted gambler like he is.
Yeah.
Addicted.
But I do see that it can
Almost
cause
a Dale drop there.
a lot of problems. It does lead to the ruin of a lot of people's lives, but then you get into the topic of, well, they have free choice.
Right.
And they're going to bet anyway, illegally or back channel.
So why shouldn't the state make some money off of it? It's a very complicated topic. I'm one of those who I think it probably should be legal, but I'm not sure it's the best thing for a state or for a human
That's a good
being.
way to put it, yeah.
Isn't it crazy that it was at one time, probably not that long ago, where legalized gambling, legalized marijuana, heck, even going back to other cultural issues like legalized gay marriage. I mean, all these things 30 years ago were unimaginable.
Yeah.
And how fast culture moves these days.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it's going to happen, and it almost feels like a foregone conclusion. It's just how long will it take to play out?
Yeah.
Now, I do wonder what happens, and I mentioned this to you guys yesterday, what happens to Native American tribes that this is a huge source of their income is because they are allowed to run gambling operations in casinos.
Mm-hmm.
And if it becomes legal in the state and other people get into it, nobody has to travel to the reservations to gamble.
Yeah, what happens to our friends up at Choctaw, for
Right.
example, Windstar, which is massive, all those casinos that have popped up across the border in New Mexico? Are those in trouble if we're now building giant casinos with NBA teams in Texas?
Right.
Yeah, they've got to be pretty dramatically affected. I'm sure there's still enough
And that-
people in Oklahoma to make them work, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll go out of business, but it certainly would dilute their customer base.
Yeah.
And that is like the one bit of feel-good retribution that I kind of have for the Native Americans is that at least they get to make money off the white man's vices.
Yeah.
Because of the current laws that we have now.
Yeah.
You know, it is like this one form of reparations in a sense
Yes.
that we've had. And if you legalize it, you lose that. So
It's a complicated.
So you
topic.
think in 10 years the Mavericks will be playing at something casino,
Absolutely.
right off of 114?
and most of the game will be spent people looking at their phones doing the micro bettings on what's
You
happening
can do
in
it
the
in
next
the
play.
quarter.
Yeah.
And
This is a scary story about a kid here in Dallas that went swimming and got a headache afterwards.
Oh, I hate these stories.
Christopher Bryant is his name, 13 years of age. He spent much of the summer swimming, but he came home from swimming one day, said he had a horrible earache, and that made it into a horrible headache. And then the next morning, he woke up with his eye swollen shut.
Oh.
They visited the neighborhood ER. He was sent to Children's Medical Center. Now, when I first read this part, I'm thinking brain-eating amoeba. Fortunately, it was not a brain-eating amoeba. They thought, of course, he was going to be in and out of the hospital in 1 to 3 days, but no, he had to have 2 different brain surgeries because he got sinusitis. How do you say it?
Yeah,
And
a sinus infection.
a sinus infection, and it progressed into his brain, and they had to do 2 brain surgeries.
I've
to
never
handle the
heard of
infection.
that.
I know it.
dumb question. It was from the water, though? It was in his sinuses from, or is it just a bad sinus infection that he got?
I'm not sure if it was from the
Okay.
water or not. But yeah, he got an abscess behind his eye that spread to his brain because of the sinus infection.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 surgeries. But he is recovering,
That's good.
which is good. At least it wasn't the brain-eating amoeba, which has a mortality rate of like 98%. 36% of Americans have avoided public spaces over mass shooting fears, according to a new survey. And younger people and women more likely to report avoiding public spaces because of the fears of mass shootings.
I live with someone who considers that before we go somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to head to the big events, or at least is queasy about it.
Sometimes, yeah.
Second time we used queasy, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Weird.
And I don't think I've ever avoided something, but I do think about it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Which is just
Keep
tragic.
your head on a swivel.
But you have to think about that.
As of Monday, there's been 318 mass shootings reported by the Gun Violence Archive. That's a nonprofit. And mass shooting is defined as a minimum of 4 victims shot, either injured or killed.
And that's this year.
Yeah,
300.
318 as of this year.
It's ridiculous as parents get their kids ready to go back to school. You think about it. Mm-hmm. How safe is your school? Which is just ridiculous.
Birthdays today. We're ready for birthdays or one more story? What do you want to do?
I guess you could work in a quick one if you think you can do that. Not a 5-minute story, but
There's a woman here in California, a 21-year-old, diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome.
What's that?
It's a condition where the patient experiences repeated episodes of the symptoms of anaphylaxis. Hey, guys. Allergic symptoms, hives, swelling, low blood pressure, difficulty breathing, severe diarrhea, based on foods they eat. She has a sensitive stomach, and she's got this thing so bad, there's only 13 foods that she can eat.
I hope they're good foods.
So could you deal with this? The 13 foods that she can eat are white fish,
Okay.
turkey,
Great.
green beans,
Favorite veggie.
zucchini,
Yep.
cucumber, lime,
Yeah.
dates, grapes, raspberries,
Best.
pears, chia seeds,
Chia seeds.
water lily seeds, and olive oil. So could
Okay.
you make it your whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
you
could do
only
that.
can choose from those 13 things.
Yes. I could do that. It would get a little old after a while, but there's some good options in there.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it.
Doesn't sound like a lot of. Well, I guess you could have the fruit for breakfast. Yeah.
There aren't any carbs though, right?
I mean, the fruit has carbs.
Yeah, but like no starches.
Yeah,
no
no
potatoes
starches.
or breads or.
Nope, none of it.
That'd be tough.
I need a little bit of that at least.
White fish and
No
turkey
rice.
are the only meats you have there.
Let's get her at Ticket Stock and just talk to her about this.
And push a bunch of foods in front of her. Try to make her avoid it.
No pizza.
Yeah, no pizza. No hamburger.
I
How
didn't
can you
hear
go without
hamburger or enchiladas on there either.
I know. Now, if the 13 foods included hamburgers and enchiladas, then I could do it. All right, birthdays today. Buddy Guy is 88, the blues guitarist. Plays a polka-dotted Strat. Arnold Schwarzenegger, 77. The Governator.
Yeah.
Richard Linklater, 64. Texan, correct?
Ticket Zone.
How's he Ticket Zone?
He's been
What
on
do
the
we
hard
have
line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did Dazed and Confused and Boyhood and School of Rock. Lawrence Fishburne, 63.
Greatness.
Lisa Kudrow, Ticket Zone, 61.
I like her.
Vivica A. Fox, 60. In her day.
In her day, for sure. And maybe still.
Yeah, I think so still.
He just did Mike sing In Her Day.
I think that's allowed.
That's a sane more than drop, I guess.
Yeah.
I just
He's
had a
okay
frog in my
there.
throat at the moment.
He's okay there.
I think you're okay there, but that's close.
Terry Crews, 56. The President in Idiocracy. Christopher Nolan, director of Oppenheimer and The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, 54.
Overrated.
Well, yeah, I thought
And happy
Oppenheimer.
birthday.
Yeah.
Did you watch Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Overrated. I mean, good, but overrated.
Christine Taylor, 53. From Dodgeball and the Brady Bunch movie. Used to be married to Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hilary Swank is 50. $1 Million Baby. Didn't Norm have a crush on her or something weird?
Something like
I'm also
that.
a fan.
Jamie Presley, 47. Bud Selig is 90.
Wow.
And Chris Mullen is 61.
Part of Run TMC.
Yeah.
And turning 4 today, Spartacus Kellison, the offspring of The Killer,
Wow.
turns 4
All right,
today.
John.
That's an awesome age.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Spartacus.
Yes, Spartacus.
Romulus and Spartacus are Killer's two sons.
Get to date.
All right, thanks. That's Muse 735 on the ticket. Coming up next, today's Olympic update. But right now it's time for a Summer Olympics update. And when you look at the medal tracker, through now roughly 5 days of competition, the United States is still in first place. We have 20 total medals, but only 3 of those are gold. We have 3 gold, 8 silver, and 9 bronze. But we are leading in the overall medal count. France is now in second place, the home country. That does get more athletes and more teams with automatic entries, so there is a benefit for the host nation. They have more chances to medal, and France is expected to have their greatest Olympic Games ever. They are in second place. They have 5 gold, 2 more than the U.S. team, 8 silver, and 3 bronze. Japan is in third place with 12. The U.S. picked up a medal yesterday in men's team gymnastics. The U.S. men won bronze, and that is their first medal since 2008.
Whoa.
It's been a long time since the U.S. men's team medaled in the team competition at the Olympic Games, but they did that yesterday behind Japan, which won gold, and China, which won silver. And with that medal, Team USA now has, across both Summer and Winter Olympics, 3,000 all-time medals. That is the most by far by any country in Olympic history. No other country has more than 1,500 medals.
Whoa.
So the U.S. has doubled any other country's cause. The Soviet Union is the second place country or former country all time. They had about 1,200 medals before the Soviet Union disbanded. So nobody is catching the United States.
Wow. I had no idea we had that kind of lead.
Yeah, 3,000 medals now for the U.S. after that bronze by the U.S. men's gymnastics team yesterday. 2 gymnasts from the Dallas area are competing for Team USA. Asher Hong, who was born in Plano, is on that men's squad that medaled yesterday, and Hesley Rivera is a big part of the women's team. There's another gymnast, though, from the Dallas area, but she is not participating for Team USA. She's representing Colombia. Luisa Blanco, she's from Frisco, Lebanon Trail, graduated there. She's 22 years old, and she made the all-around final with the 30th highest score in Sunday's qualifying meet. The top 24 gymnasts earn a spot in the all-around final, with the exception that only 2 per country can qualify. So that means Blanco made the cut with her score. That makes her the first Colombian artistic gymnast to ever reach an Olympic final, and she's from Frisco, Lebanon Trail.
Wow, that's really cool. I think that leads the way for me, that sport of how does a human do that?
Yes, it's right up there.
It's just from the balance beam to the strength they have on the rings. It's just I don't see how they do it.
It's one of those sports that ski jumping is another one. There are a lot of them that I wonder how they do that for the first time.
Yeah.
Like on the uneven bars, when they do a flip from one bar to the other, how do they do that for the first time? There must be fall after fall after fall after fall, and how do they not get severely injured?
I guess you're going into foam at first.
Yeah,
while you're learning how to do it and perfecting it.
Not just the mats.
Yeah.
It's an amazing sport to watch. And speaking of gymnastics, Simone Biles is in the lineup for all 4 events today for the Olympic team finals. We had the men's team finals yesterday. The women's team finals are today. She tweaked her left calf while warming up for a floor exercise during qualifying on Sunday. She had it taped up. She did return that day, and she will be there for all 4 events today, so that's good news for Team USA.
I saw her routine the other day, just that, the way she started it. She makes this big approach to the balance beam, flies up in the air, and lands on one leg.
I don't understand that.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It's incredible. The Americans, the women, are heavily favored to win gold after finishing runner-up to Russia in Tokyo 3 years ago. And you remember that's when Simone Biles had her issues, and it was a very strange game for the women's team, but they're expected to be back on top this year. In men's basketball, the Greek freak, Giannis, has had 2 huge games for Greece. He had 34 points, 5 boards in one game on 11 of 17 shooting, 27 points, 11 boards, and 12 of 17 shooting in his recent game against Spain, but Greece is 0-2. So they are definitely a one-man team. He is dominating, but nobody else is helping him on that Greek squad, and so they are probably not going to make it out of this qualifying round. The U.S. will play again tomorrow, the U.S. men's team against South Sudan. That is the team that doesn't have any NBA players on its roster, but pushed the U.S. in London in those warm-up matches and almost beat them. The U.S. beat South Sudan by 1 point. They get them tomorrow in actual Olympic competition.
Kind of sounds like a high school.
South Sudan, yeah. George, the men's Olympic triathlon was planned for today, but it has been postponed over concerns about water quality in the River Seine.
I tried to tell y'all, and I've heard there's even discussions now about we can't do this triathlon. It's not going to get safe.
Yeah. They're trying to hold the men's triathlon now on Wednesday instead. The women's competition is also scheduled for Wednesday. Of course, the swim portion of these triathlons were supposed to take place in the River Seine. Both of the now alternate dates are subject to water tests. Friday is now also planned as a potential backup date. There has to be a backup swim venue somewhere.
You would think.
A pond, a lake, somewhere they can move this. And I know they got to figure out the run and bike courses as well. But efforts to make the river suitable for swimming have cost $1.5 billion.
Oh, man.
How's that possible?
I don't know, but they say that it includes the construction of a giant basin to capture excess rainwater and keep wastewater from flowing into the river, renovating sewer infrastructure, and upgrading wastewater treatment plants. $1.5 billion they put into making the River Seine swimmable, and it's not swimmable.
So when they first started talking about it, do you think people reacted to it like we would react to a swimming event in the Trinity? Like,
yes.
Wait, you can't do that. That's a terrible idea.
In tennis, Novak Djokovic, 37 years old, beat Rafa Nadal, 38 years old, yesterday, 6-1, 6-4. Their 60th meeting, and quite possibly their last meeting. And it doesn't happen in a Grand Slam. It happens at the Paris Olympics. Nadal is still going in doubles, where he's teaming with Carlos Alcaraz for Spain. And on the women's side, Coco Gauff, one of our flag bearers, was in tears after getting into an extended argument with the chair umpire over a ruling during her loss to Dana Vekic of Croatia. She was ousted yesterday and ousted in tears in a third-round singles match. And finally, the U.S. women's water polo team has a hype man, Flavor Flav. He signed a 5-year deal to be the hype man for the women's water polo team.
How did that come about?
So Maggie Steffens, the U.S. women's team longtime captain, posted a photo of the players on her Instagram page back in May with a caption outlining challenges that the athletes often face, from these off-the-beaten-path sports, including the fact that the players typically work multiple jobs while pursuing their Olympic dreams. And she asked her followers to watch and support women's sports. And Flavor Flav's manager saw this post and somehow brought it up to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to support them. And he started donating money to them, and that eventually led to this relationship. And Flavor Flav is there in Paris going to all these women's water polo matches as their official hype man.
Golly. Tickets owned, right?
The tickets owned.
Yeah, he was at Ticket Stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a little cool story there. Very odd bedfellows, Flavor Flav and the U.S. women's water polo team, but he's there.
That's funny.
And that's your Olympic update.
Patreon.com/sportsgreek.
And Gordo, this is always fun when we get to know one of the lesser names on the roster.
Yeah, I always try to grab a player who's trying to make the team, and I charge him with doing an audio diary throughout training camp so we can kind of keep up with his progress and learn his story. And I ran into a guy who is actually related to a player from many years ago. And he decided that he was going to do an audio diary for us, and he already sent us his first entry. So let's take a listen at his audio diary this week from training camp.
Hey there, it's me, Isaiah Ontario, the veteran journeyman wide receiver hopeful, who's hopeful to be the guy man to make the team this year in the Cowboys training camp 2024. Well, it is during the first full week of training camp, and I must say that this has been the mostest difficult week of not only my life, but maybe also the most difficult week of my entire life. I'm really currently worried I'm not going to make the team. Dear listener, to me, I've had over 16 drops in practice, and I've committed 23 false starts. This would be bad stats by any standard, much less the standard that I have personally set for myself in accomplishing my goals. It has gotten so bad that Mike McCartney, the Cowboys head coach in charge of football, formerly of Green Bay Packer, yelled at me in the front of the whole team. It was so humiliating that he did not take me to a private location or take me out to a discreet lunch in order to correct me on my Sunday footballing missteps. No, dear listener, he yelled at me in front of my fellow compadres from this very football team. They all laughed and pointed to me and made me feel 5 feet small. Oh, dear listener, sometimes the pressure here gets so bad, I think about doing the ultimate in all of the desperate acts, quitting football in its entirely. But my dream ever since I was little Isaiah Ontario the fourth was to be a NFL football player and to make enough money to buy a big house with a half bath right off the living room. I've always wanted to repay my mom for raising me. She has actually billed me for 167,000 euros, even though we are from America. So I really want to get her the money to pay her back. I have to tell you, sports listener, that Jerry Jones is not the kind Christian man that he is often portrayed in various paternity lawsuits. No, in fact, I often see him out partying and drinking with his own sons at glamorous various Oxnard hotspots. Just last night, I saw him with young blonde sitting on his lap and calling her Daddy. It both sickened and aroused me. Why are football coaches so picky? They want you to run every play as it is designed, but I am an artist who thrives on improv. Sometimes when I'm supposed to run a wheel route, I feel like I should run a more interestingly shaped route, so I run a route in the shape of a pretzel. For this bit of football creativity, I am rewarded with Brian Schottenheimer yelling at me and calling me the worst football player of all time. But I ask you this, dear listener, to this diary, would the worst football player of all time be able to come up with a pretzel route? I think not. I think damn not. And Brian Schottenheimer is stupid. I'm so tired of his black ass. Cooper Peters has been rather mean to me this week and not very supportive. The other day in the lunchroom, he held me down as each lineman came up, squatted, and farted on me with a tremendous force. I've got horrible pink eye this morning. Well, I've got to go because one of the coaches has just asked me to get my playbook and bring it into a meeting with the coach. I'm so excited. I'm betting that he wants to put the pretzel route into the team's playbook. This is going great. All my dreams are finally working out, and I will have a half bath off the living room in euros for my mom before you know it. I only wish my dad, Jeremiah Ontario, were still alive to see this, but he died on 9/11. Oh well, crap happens. I should clarify that was 9/11 3 years ago. Anywho, Isaiah Ontario out.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I don't think that meeting probably went as well as he was anticipating.
No, not the playbook.
No.
I doubt they're putting in the pretzel route.
Pretzel route.
Well, he does not like Brian Schottenheimer, does he?
No. Doesn't look like that's going well.
Thank you, Craig.
Hello, Brady Tom.
Whose voice is that?
Hey, Brady Tom. It's a fun voice to do. I love Brady Tom. He's one of my favorite celebrities. So, P1 Tony says, Cowboys cheerleader respect. Great job talking about the Cowboys cheerleaders and the effort that they put into what they do. So, yes, this is we need to get this going. More guys watching the America's Sweetheart documentary and seeing what the cheerleaders do. Because
They do a lot.
for too long, people have dismissed it as, just cheerleaders. It's
I
incredible.
don't think I've ever thought that about the Cowboys cheerleaders.
You did.
No.
You always used to bag on, I could do that.
I've never said I could do that. Except for the splits thing. I could do that.
Gosh.
Could you imagine how many
It's
muscles you would
almost
rip doing
cruel to even watch them do that. And see, this is how you know how good they are. I always watched the cheerleaders and thought, well, it must not be that hard because they do it flawlessly. It's the trick of when you're so good at doing something,
You
people
make it
think
look
it must
easy.
be easy for you to do it.
that? Yeah.
And it's not. It's not. I get so lost even just the counting. Okay, that's on the 7
5, 6,
and
7, 8.
That's on the 7 and then you got to do this and then we do this in triplets and
No, I can't count.
I can't count. Ryan says, gentle musers. The drop challenge, the drop detox at your current...
Whoa.
What?
Currently...
That's not what you said.
Let's keep going.
It is amazing how often that word comes up accidentally.
Sometimes you change mid-word to switch from country to nation, and you get bitten by that. The drop challenge is concerning because it feels like the corporates are passing down a directive since you've come back from holiday to move past the old ticket, slowly asking y'all not to reference events and drops from the past.
Gosh. No.
Along with a change in the music. So this is once again the story making that starts happening.
Libs.
No.
No, this was me tired of Gordon stuck in a drop from 1998
So-
that I said, hey, let's stop just for
To clarify,
a few days.
Like I said, I don't blame people for trying to piece things together to make a narrative. But because that's what we all naturally do. But here are the facts. Our music has changed because we change it every 8 years. We changed it 8 years ago, and then we changed it 8 years.
Got complaints.
That's the way it happens.
8 years before that, we got complaints.
And every time you debut new music, everyone is upset by it because they're used to the old music, which I get that too, right?
Yeah.
And then, but just know that when the old music that you loved and were used to, when that debuted, everyone complained then too.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it works, right? So yeah, we change music every 8 years or so, and no, the drop challenge thing has nothing to do with corporate. This just happened to be a conversation that we were having and laughing about it, and it became a funny challenge to do to see if we could actually do it. And this is how we're trying not to see if we can get ourselves out of loop brain to not do drops, speak in drops constantly from over 10 years ago. We knew we couldn't quit cold turkey.
No.
So we're allowing the past 10 years of drops. But it does eliminate some great drops that I depend on in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? I've always thought that there are these wild conspiracy theories. You know, it's amazing. It's its own industry on the Kennedy assassination or landing on the moon or OJ, whatever.
It's only gotten worse.
But there are so many wild conspiracy theories about the ticket.
The ticket, yeah.
Out there.
Boy, I had to stop myself.
Uh-oh. Which one did you almost get hung up on there?
I almost threw out the Finley, being fascinated with Michael Finley.
Okay.
Huh.
So he's struggling a little bit right now.
25 years ago, so.
At least.
But you had to go to that 25-year-old well. Both of you.
Y'all would have laughed that I just said it.
Several P1s very upset by this drop challenge because they want us
taking out content that's funny.
They want us to be in loop head. They love it that we're trapped in a timeline that keeps repeating itself.
We're talking about things costing $1 billion this morning. I wanted Norm to chime in.
I know.
He does not.
Oh, that would be so great to be able to say that. When was that? Was that over 10 years ago?
Oh, my gosh. That was...
Todd Zeal was here.
Yeah, Todd Zeal.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Norm getting mad about Todd Zeal.
They're paying Todd Zeal $1 billion. Ooh, George almost went for it there.
Nope.
Almost threw it out. We talked in Muse in the News today, which happens every day at 7:15, about people being scared of mass shootings. And they did a survey and found that, like 37% of people, it affects how much they even go out now because they're scared of mass shootings, being involved in a mass shooting. Well, I saw where New York, which is the home of the largest school district in the nation, they are banning realistic active shooter drills in their schools. So our kids are having to do this, right? In America, you do these shooter drills. Well, a lot of parents are upset because they say that the nature of the shooter drills is traumatizing to kids.
I could see that.
So do I. Yeah, they say it traumatizes children, normalizes violence, and does little to prepare the students for the unlikely possibility of a school shooting. And you got to get into the question of where is that balance of, you're traumatizing kids by these active shooter drills because you're introducing that thought to them, that possibility. If you're doing it certainly with the elementary school students that they're having to go through this, that gets them thinking in ways that I don't know really benefits them that much. The benefit cost benefit analysis on it, I don't know, works out in their favor, and I think this is probably the right move. That you need to do at least age-appropriate things and drills, which is like, hey, if something happens and there's some issue at school, make sure you mind your teacher. Mm-hmm. Something to that effect. Not, okay, get down on the floor, pretend like you just been shot through the head, and your parents can't get a hold of you.
Okay.
He's not Rex
I don't
Kwon
think they term it like that, but... Yeah, not that teachers don't already have enough to do, but maybe you kind of leave it with them. This is the procedure you got to follow to protect the kids, and leave the third graders out of it.
I know.
Especially if it's every school district. It doesn't happen in every school district.
But you know how America works.
It could
the old,
happen
the old
anywhere.
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
The parents are mad because they're making the kids do these realistic school drills. They get rid of the realistic school drills. Then if, God forbid, something happens, the parents then sue the school district
Why
for
weren't
not
you
having
ready?
our kids prepared for this. And it's just the endless cycle of dissatisfaction that we're addicted to here. So that's always nice.
I'm still addicted to it.
Oh, he can say that.
It's Dale from like 1996.
And we can't. That was him on a voicemail, his outgoing
voicemail that we played for Ron Chapman.
Now what? I'm just now joining the program. And
See,
this makes
that's
no
what I'm
sense
talking
to me.
about. That's why we got to move on.
I took his outgoing voicemail and edited it up to make different phrases. It was almost like a Dale soundboard. And I prank called Ron Chapman while he was on the air, the late, great Ron Chapman, and had Dale Hansen calling Ron Chapman. And Ron bought it for a little while.
Because he identified who it was at the
Yeah.
beginning. This is...
I think we could say that, can't we?
I don't know.
Hi, this is Dale Hansen, is what he said on his outgoing message.
Okay.
And I had that, and Ron was like, "Oh yeah, hey Dale, how are you?" In his Ron Chapman voice. And then it was Dale in his outgoing message said, "Please leave a message on my voicemail. I still use this all the time because I'm still addicted to it." And then
This is great.
Ron, he just hears Dale saying, "Hey, this is Dale Hansen. Hey Dale, how you doing?" "I'm still addicted to it.
What's that?
I'm still addicted to it."
Kept playing it over and over.
As if it was a cry for help. That's a fun time for the just.
There's another one. Wow.
For Dis Reporter,
You just-
when I
that's-
heard it,
That's your second AJ Clemente violation of the morning.
Yep.
Okay, fun time for the disabled. So that is now
dang it.
2, 3, 4,
It's
5,
11.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12
12.
violations.
And he's still
by
at
you.
5?
He's still
It's a
at
fun
5.
time for the disabled.
Gordon,
That phrase is so great. Okay, we traveled, went to the airport, did not see anyone using this bit of technology, but Japan is now cracking down on these. And in 2 major airports over there, they've forbidden people from motorized suitcases. Have you seen footage?
No.
Of it? It's really popular in Asia. Yeah. And some Americans are into it. Like I know Paris Hilton, she's all about the motorized suitcase now. Well, yeah, travelers, you sit on your suitcase. So this is how you get through the airport. You sit on your suitcase, and it even has like I don't know, foot holds
pedals
for you.
Oh.
And it's motorized, and you ride through the airport on your suitcase.
Is that necessary?
Yes, because it prevents us from
We don't
having
wanna
to be
walk.
animals, which have to walk everywhere they go.
I mean, you're going to be sitting on a plane for a long time. Don't you like to walk through the airport?
As I've gotten older, I've really grown to appreciate my ability to walk.
Yes.
It seems like you go through that period of time where you're always trying to get out of, I don't want to take the stairs. I don't want to park way far away because then I have to walk for it. And then at some point you get in your life and you go, you know what? I'm pretty glad that I have the ability to walk, and I actually enjoy walking and providing some effort to life.
Instead of riding on a suitcase.
Yes. Now we've gotten so lazy we're riding on our own suitcases in the airport.
I would think if I saw that in the airport, I would say that person looks ridiculous riding on their suitcase.
But I bet you at one point this will get normalized and everyone will be
We'll all
riding
be
on their
riding?
suitcases. Like a stupid Wicked Witch of the West just flying through the air on her suitcase. It's crazy. It's crazy looking. You still see this with kids. Why is that still one of the greatest thrill for a kid is to ride on a suitcase in the airport? Mm-hmm. You'll always see some kid getting up on the suitcase and mom or dad has to drag them along. as they're precariously perched on the suitcase. Sometimes you get 3 kids hanging off the same suitcase. We saw it when we were coming in.
Our daughter now is big into riding on the grocery cart.
Oh, yeah.
She likes to jump up with her feet on the rail and hold on and get pushed around the store.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of being in the little seat now.
Yeah.
She wants to ride it like a firefighter on a truck.
I never wanted to ride in the seat of the grocery cart. I always wanted to ride either in it like a go-kart or standing on the side like a garbage guy, garbage man that gets to ride on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
That was always awesome. But I don't want to be in a rear-facing seat. You don't want to be facing your parent as they're pushing the cart. You want to be directing the going where you want to go, pretending like you're in a car.
Yeah, she likes the carts now that are like cars that have the steering wheel where the kids face forward.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that when we were kids.
Those are great.
And they make them now where I swear the fake car portion of it is bigger than the shopping cart portion of it.
Yeah.
It's really more of a kid's push cart than it is an actual shopping cart.
Another back bin for kids. Just something to keep them occupied and quiet for 5 minutes.
It'd be so great. Wouldn't it be great to be a kid again?
Yes and no. There's some downsides. You don't have full independence.
See, you and I were very different. You wanted to be an adult.
Yes.
When you were a kid.
Yep. And I had a happy childhood.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to escape it. To me, adulthood looked like more fun.
And I remember being extremely depressed when I turned 16 because I felt like I was way too old.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what listening to the Smiths will do to you.
Why are you always pinning it on the Smiths?
I'm 16. What does this mean for my world now?
I'm 16 and I'm clumsy and shy. I don't know. Yeah, but if you were a kid again, what do you think you would be into?
Same stuff. Baseball cards, playing baseball, sports.
You wouldn't be into
riding my bike.
Video games we got now?
Yeah, I'd be into video games.
I probably would get into some of those, yeah. But I think I'd mainly be like I was as a kid. Same stuff.
I bet none of us would spend a minute outdoors. I think childhood would be completely different for us this time around.
I don't think so.
We'd have phones. I know that I would have bitched at my parents hard enough and strongly enough and lobbied. My lobbying effort would have gotten me a phone by the age of probably 8. Yeah. Probably around then. And I would have played all the hits of, I'm just, Mom and Dad, I'm really concerned about a school shooting, and I'd really like to be in touch with you in case that happens. So I really need the phone. I mean, it is, it's a protective device, and I'm sure you guys would probably want to protect your children, wouldn't you? I mean, or are you too concerned about money spent on a phone? That's more important. The money's more important to you than your actual child. Okay, thanks, Mom and Dad. If we're ever reborn, I want to be reborn as one of your children, Giorgio. I want to see how a dad Jub would raise a kid Gordo.
Talking to you, Gordon.
I've basically had to take on that role since your parents have passed. Yeah, I just have to.
If that's the kind of parent you are, is how you've treated me over the past 30 years, that's very sad. This is a man who's assaulted me. He's thrown stuff at me.
Everybody at the ticket has tried to kill you at some point.
He threatens to kill me almost daily.
Yeah. Everybody at the ticket has
done
done that
to you. It's so psychologically damaging for me to have my dad Jub threaten to kill me all the time. Anyway, motorized suitcases.
All right, Gordo. Thank you. That's the corner.
We'll put out the signal at the very top, and you guys are welcome to stick around if you want to be a part of the signal that happens every Tuesday around 10:50ish. But we're going to do a little bit early today.
He doesn't like it when we're on with him. He likes to kind of take the spotlight.
I love it when you're on.
How's the competition going? I heard that they're up.
He is having a look at him.
He's had a rough morning.
There's no doubt I'm struggling.
I think he's had 6 violations today.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
he's up to 12, and George is still at 5.
Yeah. Oh, you've adapted, huh?
I'm recovered.
That's a concentrated effort.
Were you like Ray Charles when he was in rehab, kind of shaking a bit?
It was tough. Yeah, the first day was really tough, but I'm feeling really good now. Mm-hmm. I'm really concerned about my friend Gordon, though. He's having a really hard time.
Concern.
So maybe we'll explore a little of that at the top.
Try to draw him offside.
I'm trying to help him. I really am. I don't know what he needs, but we're going to see if we can stick to 12 violations for the rest of the week.
Oh, good
We're
luck.
going to talk to
man.
him. We're going to. It's like therapy. It's going to be like therapy in this first.
That's
segment
great
for
that you're
Gordon.
trying to help.
I'm
but
trying
good
my
luck.
best. I you know what? I think we're going to need it. He's going to resist.
All right, you guys have a great show.
Thank you.
That is Donnie.
Thanks.
Matt, they're next.
Oink!
We're back tomorrow morning. Here from Cowboys Training Camp in Oxnard starting at 5:30 on the ticket, maybe.
But right now, live from Dallas Cowboys Training Camp, let's put up the signal.
Gordon!
Yo, for real.
Gordon! 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 Elizabeth here.
Yes.
All the way from Dallas Cowboys Training Camp, it is Gordon Keith.
Yes. How are we, Invasion?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got my two buddies, Craig and George, with me today. They traveled all the way back here for this.
That was a nice
hotel.
thing for them to do.
Yeah, I know.
Immediately
That's
after the show, they left because Junior's so used to just flying out of the
Right.
show.
This is
out
their
of the
commitment
mix.
to
And then he came
broadcasting.
right back. It is fantastic.
Well, we wanted to go on this segment, but he just slipped us a note. Gordon did, and it says, and I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
It
get
says,
ready for some bad acting.
Hey, guys, I'd appreciate if you didn't come on this segment because it's my time to shine.
That's so stupid.
Signed, Gordon.
You're the guy who requires us to turn off their mics whenever you're talking, so it's only you.
What?
That's your big deal.
My big deal.
Hey guys, I'm kind of the superstar of the ticket, so
Hey, George, are you okay? George looks beaten.
My take is I've done 4.5 hours and I can't do another minute with this man over here. Don't say that to Craig. No, I'm talking to you, Gordon.
Don't do the whole playlet yourself. You have to allow me my lines.
Well, speaking of playlets, last night at the team dinner, which was awesome. It's always awesome to break bread with our coworkers. I enjoy every single year the Junior Miller playlet around the time where he's about to go nuts because he's so hungry. Like, Junior builds up for the team dinner. I don't even know if he snacks or anything, but when he gets there, it's time to eat. And, you know, if you have 12, 13 people, they have to get things together.
May take a while.
It may take a little bit if they're getting drinks and getting everything together. Then, at a quiet moment, Junior would just look up and go, well, yes, I'll have the tacos. Oh.
And she's not there. She's not there.
To nobody.
To nobody in the corner. And
See-
it's more than once. And it tickles me every time I see it.
Thank you for
love
being such a good audience.
All right,
Hanging
right.
out with my friends.
I
That's
threw
fun.
roses at you
But the
yesterday.
big traveling party to go to a meal or whatever is a beating.
It is.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
It took a
is.
while yesterday.
Yes.
But it's
like
then,
herding
but
cats.
you see why it does, right? I mean, there's a lot of people you're trying to get things right, and I guess they want to see if you want a little time to, you know, talk and fraternize
starve
and all
to
that.
death
So it
and-
seems
Order a beer and 45 minutes later be able to sip it.
It does take a while. There was some hang time on that meal last night.
When we walked up, they said that they had several big parties there. So maybe they just had a lot of things going on.
Seemed
So-
pretty packed.
right.
Yeah, they did. And our waitress had other tables, which is crazy.
She did?
Yeah.
Wow,
She had tables out on
really?
the patio, yeah.
Oh, wow. She was busy. She was in the weeds, as we say.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what they call
waiter
it.
industry.
I'm in the weeds. I need some help.
And then you guys are just so concerned, oh, I'm starving. And you just
Well,
want
the
your
food
food
part-
right now when she has work to do. Everyone just chill out.
I was
We're having
chill.
fun. We're talking. We're laughing.
Having a good time.
Telling stories.
Obviously.
Oh,
Man, you have such a
Happened so
problem.
fast.
Man.
you don't even think, man. It's just part of your
right
rotation.
there.
Number 13.
He's so chill and relaxed, and then all of a sudden,
The thing is that Giorgio and I, yesterday, we ended pretty close. I mean, they're up
it was
until
like
the very end.
6-5, and all of a sudden,
And
you
then
just
when we
take
got
it
back
off.
to the hotel, that's when it started for me, and I've had a problem ever since.
Yeah.
It's 13-5 now.
Oh man,
Violations for Gordo.
So why did you guys just randomly pick 2014? You just went 10 years?
Yeah, I just threw out a random number.
Okay.
Just to try to update the drops we reference. And boy, we have looked up a bunch of them in the last 48 hours.
I've
Like,
learned.
what year was that?
Learned more about ticket history in the last 48 hours as to when things happen. It's very difficult, and you guys don't do that. I never hear Donnie talking in drops.
You know what? And I've told you I don't do it. And Matt doesn't
Yeah, I
do
don't
it.
do it.
And Corby and Bob and Davey and nobody does it except you two. Why is that?
That is weird.
I don't know.
I don't know. Not all the time like you guys. You know, you do have some points to where I'll yell if.
Yeah, he does do
or
it sometimes.
Something like that.
Well,
yeah.
everybody will do it a little bit.
Yeah.
But you guys do
It's
it a lot.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Like a lot.
Yeah, apparently.
And these are just the violations from 2014.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to stay updated with your drops, you're still speaking in drops. It's
I know,
just,
but there's like classic hits that you can't get over because they're so great.
Yeah.
you're like a classic rock radio station.
Yes.
You have to keep
Yeah,
playing the
it's
hits.
classic
right?
drops.
Yeah, classic
that
drop
make-
radio.
Would that make it as a format?
I'm Gordon King.
Here's some more classic drops.
But like,
Here it is in its entirety. More on dog.
all of us who work here acknowledge that those are all classic hits. More
Yes.
on Dog is unbelievable.
Right.
It's great.
it's a
It's
masterpiece.
The
hilarious.
chief of police coming up next.
But why do you guys have to repeat those constantly?
Because they fit into the conversation so well.
Yeah.
I think you have the mind of the P1 because I
Thank you
feel
for
there
knowing
are
that.
a ton of
Thank
people
you.
that would do that exact same thing to people that don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like at least we're speaking to each other and we know so you can get it. Like someone will be at the grocery store and they'll say something, obviously. And
Right,
then somebody will look at them like, what the hell are you talking about?
And
Why you
P1s have
think they're
identified
lies?
other P1s in public because they
Of
hear
drops.
someone else doing a drop.
Right.
And
In fact,
there was
true.
a P1 Callie. She said that up at her work, her friends, she's got friends that don't listen to the ticket but speak in ticket drops because her and her ticket friends
She got it
speak
started.
into it. So,
Yeah.
speak in drops so often.
If I yell, if someone yells "if" and I walk by, I give them the point and the nod,
The knowing nod
yeah,
and the
we just
point.
know what's up.
He
That's
gets
it.
me. He gets me.
Is that safe?
What?
Yeah.
Safe, isn't it? yeah,
yeah,
that happened
that's-
rather recently.
We can scream if.
Yeah.
Whenever Seattle played New England in a regular season game, then yes. No, it's
Do we have that in
Yeah.
context? The
full
longer
if?
version of if when Norm yelled at Donnie. So
Over a
uncomfortable,
2-point
too.
conversion.
over a 2-point conversion?
It wasn't even a Cowboy game.
No, it wasn't. And he
telling
was,
you right
Norm
now.
was very interested
Norm
in that
lost some money.
He was, something went haywire with that 2-point
always
conversion.
tell.
It
That
didn't work because of that call.
It worked
That
because
call
they had a
put
nice
the game more at
defensive
risk
stand.
than it would have.
Oh, it wasn't more at risk?
That call left the game far more at risk for Seattle than it was when they lined up.
No
yes,
way.
it
No,
did.
it didn't,
You
because
have
they-
much more chance to win if you have an 8-point lead than a 7-point lead. Is that not the truth?
I don't think it's as much as you
Is
say
that
it is.
not the truth?
It's not as much as you
that
say it is.
statement is the truth, yes.
I
mean,
know
that
it's a
doesn't-
one-possession game.
Well, they have a better chance with a 8-point lead than a 7-point lead. That is true.
A little bit of a better chance, but you know what? You have
40% better.
you have a hell of a lot better chance when you have a 9-point lead. 100%.
That's that bright side of the 2-point play thinking. The other side is you failed and exposed yourself when you didn't have
You
to.
didn't expose yourself,
Yes,
Norm.
you did.
No, you didn't. It's a one-possession
Okay,
game.
then
It's
go
not
block the damn extra point, Donnie. Is that what you're planning on doing?
No, I'm just trying to tell you that one possession, 2 possessions. It's a whole big fat difference.
If
You've been saying
and
that
the
the same
if
way
has
too.
a 45% chance of failure.
Wow. I've forgotten how loud it was.
Out of control.
And it was out of nowhere.
You know what?
That scared us.
Oh, my
As
God.
we listened back to it,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single one of us
So
jumped and yelled,
angry.
Man, I didn't realize it was that violent either.
Man.
So they're up 7, kick the extra point, you're up 8.
Yeah.
But
they went for 2.
Seattle went for 2. They scored. They were up 7. They went for 2 to make it a 2-possession game to put it out of reach.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if they got it or not. I think they did. But then he was saying, and I was saying that even if New England scores, they're not going to go for 2 to win it. They'll probably kick a extra point, and then you'll go in overtime. So I don't think there's any risk for putting the game out of reach at that particular moment. And he has Norm has a problem with 2-point conversions anyway. He hates them. He hates them unless it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, man, man, he screamed and it made me. It took me back to that moment right there, man.
Yeah.
See? Ooh, what about that one?
Can we say the name of the town where
we're
grunge was born?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was in the last 10 years.
Okay. Seattle.
There's some good ones from the last decade.
Yeah, there
for sure.
are.
A lot of good ones.
I do love the fact that this morning you guys figured out that the Norm music, and when you listen to it again, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think it was way better than what you thought.
Right. I mean, I'm just
Such a cartoon sound.
Like a dog has his toy and he's kind of shaking his head.
Yeah.
With it. Oh, a brand new toy.
What?
It does sound like that.
It's a music.
I mean, I'm just music.
So, all right. So this is what I propose today: is that since
here
I'm
we go. He's trying
so
to get out
far
of it.
behind, you're clearly going to win this thing. So we might as well call it off, right?
You're both wanting to call it off.
No, I don't.
Yesterday you wanted to, and now today he wants to.
I just wondered if maybe down the line we would have to, but I think I'm getting better. I think you're getting better.
No, he's not. He's more than doubled what he did yesterday.
I have to
getting
tell
tired.
you, it's made my quality of life miserable. I have no quality of life right now.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
First to 50.
He'll just do it on purpose. So
I'm ready. I'm now ready to
lunchtime.
move to palliative care. I'm ready to. This is the end for me. If you don't give me my drops back,
I'm ready.
how about this challenge?
Oh,
How
we're
about,
safe on that one.
How about I will be able to use drops again, but you keep going since you're doing so well, and I don't want to disturb that. You go the rest of
this
the week.
whole exercise was for you.
No, it was
so
for
you.
you.
Would stop living in 1997.
It was for you.
With looking up Internet America Girl on the way back from the airport.
What are you talking about?
And just bringing up.
I don't look up random women on the internet.
Gosh. And then you doing the Jack Buck call of.
Yeah,
have to be
that was
careful
the
here.
one. I think that's the one that really triggered this whole conversation because I was
'cause
really
you did it
hung up
over and over and
on
over
the
again.
on the 61st home run by Mark McGwire that time. Yeah,
and that's when I said, okay, that does it. No more drops from more than 10 years ago.
How do you guys live
I
without?
think you know what the one
So crazy.
the
I don't
one
understand
I get,
your world.
The one I get caught up on the most is I think I've changed the way I've done things the last 5 years.
You'll say that?
I'll do something at the house, and you
Yeah.
know maybe the wife will yell at me. I was like, I've changed in the last 5 years. I don't think you.
I think I've changed the way I've done things in the past 5 years. I don't think you're recognizing that.
Such a weird voice.
I would throw that one out in a heartbeat.
My biggest struggle is Kobe.
Really?
Saying that
that
he
you
wishes
wished
for something.
he had knowledge.
Yes.
I wish we knew.
Yeah.
I say that probably 20 times a day.
I think one of mine is the Kate Delaney talking.
Yeah,
about,
you got me going on that one later.
because
too.
I'll drop something on the floor and then that's the positive
yes.
thing about carrying this item is that you drop it.
Now,
I just declare everything positive.
when did you talk about the laptops? Was that within the 10 years
I think that was longer than 10 years ago.
Okay, because
so
that's
he still screams laptops down.
if I drop anything,
yeah,
or if I open it up and do anything.
I think you're okay on that one.
No, I told that story, dude. I told that story 20 years ago about the dude
who
I put the laptops out there, but I didn't realize you could just take hard drives out of them to protect your financial data and everything. So I took a sledgehammer to laptops and put them out on the curb. And the dude found them. He was a trash picker guy, Went
I remember that, but I thought you retold it.
Damn! When he saw that they were busting up. Real emphatically.
If I drop something, if I discover something, and I will scream that one out in a lot.
Laptops.
So spaghetti, and then there's no meat sauce. Damn! I'm not ready to eat yet. So that's a big one.
So it's time to call off the thing. It was fun. Good competition. We'll shake on it.
Having a little fun here.
Couldn't even make it through day, basically 2.
I can keep going. It's just I don't see the point. You've won. You're the better man.
No, I don't want that. I want some peace where I'm not going to be just pummeled by 28-year-old
You enjoy it, as Junior has established.
Yes, I
you
do.
suffer from it almost as badly as I do.
Yes, I do. I admit that. But I don't want to have another Jack Buck incident.
But you and I love talking in drops to each other.
We do. But then
why take that away?
Yes,
because
it's your special language.
It's our love language.
He gets stuck like a record, and you will hear the same one over and over, like 50
and again,
times.
and again, and again, and again, again.
Yeah, that's another one.
How did you do that to me?
Get ready to write more down.
Yeah,
God.
That really hurt him when you did that.
I love Motorcycle Bob throttling up like that.
That's one of my favorites also. I don't know if I can join this crusade myself. I may be in violation.
See, Donnie, you're finding out Donnie has a lot of them.
That's okay.
I will there.
That's fun. So fun.
Dukes of Hazzard, Bob. And again.
And I've been doing this since I was a kid. My mom always accused me of getting hung up on things.
Saying the same thing over
You
and
stay
over.
hung up on the same thing weeks at a time.
Yeah.
My dad, that was when he had a response to the famous quote of him saying, son, you don't always have to be making noise.
We were somewhere recently, and an employee from the Ticket to Ganji, who worked here in year 1, George and Ted and I were in line, and George said something, a drop from year 1 or something that we used to say about Ted, or that
But
Ted
he and
used
Al
to say.
Michaels not talking to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And Ted looked at George and goes, "Wow, you guys don't let stuff go, do you?"
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, things enter our lives, but they never leave.
Yeah.
All right, let's put up the signal. This was an awesome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Maybe the greatest.
Way to go, Invasion.
Drops galore.
Gordon!
Is that a drop?
Gordon's into it. Maybe that's his release. That's his release from not being able to say 10-year-old drops. Dancing Okay, we'll come back live from Cowboys training camp.
Pelvic thrust.
And we
I don't know what you've heard about you, but he's with the sweet spot 1 to 3. He loves it when you spit on that thing. He's the afternoon J-U-B. I don't know what you've heard about you, but he's with the sweet spot 1 to 3. His best friend is Jacob Daddy. It's the afternoon J-U-B.
Well, you heard the theme song. It's 2:37 on a Tuesday, and it's time for an Oxnard Camp edition of Afternoon Jub, starring Junior Miller, our broadcast leader. Hi, Junes.
Hello.
Teddy told us to ask you a football question to get your mind right.
Yeah, it's important to ask him one early just to get him engaged.
So Hunter Lepke, you see him more as a fullback, tailback, he has a spot on this team.
I see him as a hybrid. He could play
Okay.
both positions, and that's why I think he's so incredibly valuable. I don't know where Bob has him on his
Obviously.
rankings of 1 to 207 most important Cowboys, but I put him somewhere around 3 or 4.
Okay.
I feel like he's there, guys. He's mentally ready.
We're ready
He's
to go.
ready.
He is
all you
jogged
gotta
enough
do.
mentally. So, Nap, everybody good?
Got
Oh,
1
we're
hour.
Great.
Okay.
Feeling good. If I can get an hour, I feel good about that.
Good team dinner last night. A lot of frivolity.
Mm-hmm.
We had George, the Olympics are taking a lot of flack for recreating the Last Supper. Well, George was the center of the table, like he was Jub Jesus in the middle. With all his
Because I was on the
apostles.
end?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. That was fun last night. We were talking about, on our show, it's a lot to get everybody together. It really is like herding cats and getting everybody to a certain place by a certain time. But it's good. I'm glad we do it every year.
And we sat next to Junes, and we saw the Junes playlet of talking to the invisible waitress because service was a little slow last night.
She had a lot going.
There was a lot going on.
It's a busy place.
Yeah, when service is that slow, I just after 15 minutes, I assume that she's probably standing next to me by that point. So that's why I turn and start to place my order, and then I'm shocked that she's not there.
So surprising.
Still.
Yeah, usually we get a first act and a second act, but last night we got an encore, so to be there in person for that was something special.
Can I weigh in on something you guys were just talking about?
Yeah.
About Jerry and all the media sorts who are around here, and either they are kind of tired of his act or whatever. I think I am totally there. I don't know. I always used to come into camp with kind of an anticipation. Hey, it's our one chance to be around Jerry. We see him during the regular season, but this, he kind of lets his guard down and stuff. Man, I am so worn out on not only what Jerry has to say, but I still think it exists that the media's there to be his laugh track, and he just loves it.
Is that why Steven's been laughing more over the years, more and more?
Just to try to cover
like
up
Ed McMahon just during every
yeah,
presser.
maybe, I don't know, but it also leads me to think that they are, especially Jerry, maybe not Steven, but especially Jerry. I think he's really out of tune with what the Cowboy fan feels. He hears those stats about fastest renewal of season tickets, and he sees this. I walked by. Did you guys think today's crowd was pretty small?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Compared to last year, it was.
Really? Okay.
And
The
just walking
bleachers-
in. Yeah, walking in, because when we'd get here a couple hours before practice, there's
Hundreds
people
of
waiting
people.
outside to get in, and today there was a few. I don't know, 20, 30 or
Maybe
so,
you'll have
but-
that on. Maybe it's because it's a Tuesday thing versus a Thursday or Friday. Maybe, I don't know.
But is he right where the fans don't really matter? They're still going to show up. And what he said about season tickets, probably true. Once the season starts, it's like, okay, the blue and silver is back. The interest is up.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a training camp thing. I do think fans, the majority of them, are tired of the whole circus of it and don't really care what he says. But once the game starts, I think that's kind of when it kind of resets. It's like, okay, now we're back up.
Yeah, once you
we're
take
1-0,
that football
we're 2-0.
drive.
Okay, the
Yeah.
fans are
You
back.
take that bump, yeah, you'll be right back.
Yeah, and he sees it either way too. And they've been good enough in the last 28 years to. I mean, they had those 3 straight 5 and 11 years, but outside of that, they're always quote unquote in it. They never. They haven't had 5 terrible seasons in a row.
Yeah. Well, Junior's book is finally being read by the masses.
I'm happy.
Yes, your publisher has to be very happy.
Oh,
as well.
yes. He's ordered a 3rd, 4th, and 5th printing.
Oh no, paperback, ebook.
We're into all of that. Yeah, and that other stat, not only are they having the fastest renewals of season tickets in the league, but they've also sold out 20 consecutive years worth of games. They've not had a sellout in 20 years. So he thinks he's doing great.
Crushing it.
And
He's
he must,
crushing
yeah.
it. And he is financially. It's the most valuable franchise in the world, and he is just making money left and right. I'm still blown away every time we walk in here to this practice facility. The rows of buy a jersey here, buy a football here, get your picture taken with fake Dak here. And he is just raking it in.
There's a live DJ spinning tunes as you walk in.
And the corporate suites here.
Yeah.
And what those people are paying for this. And, the press conference dais is brought to us by American Airlines, and this is brought to us by Pepsi. And it's just unbelievable. So would he like to add the cherry on top? Another Super Bowl trophy?
Yeah.
Of course he would. But if he doesn't, and he still is printing money in the way he is, then I think he's okay.
Life is still pretty kick-ass for the Jones family.
Does it surprise you guys, the attendance, how it's so sparse today? I don't know if it's going to last like this all week.
I
but
guess it didn't hit me.
I
when I
figured
walked
that,
in.
okay, it's not really going to matter to the fans. It's California. I figured people would still travel here.
If I lived out
go
here, I
on
would
vacation, go
do other
see
stuff.
practice. It does seem pretty crazy to just go watch practice when you're going to a beautiful spot that we're in. But I was kind of surprised by this.
Yes, it hit me that the bleachers were really sparse. There was very few people in the bleachers, very spread out. And normally the first week here, it seems like the bleachers are pretty full.
Yeah, and maybe they're getting to the point now where they're not happy with results, but there's a lot of people that live out here. But those who would be interested in Cowboys camp, maybe they've been here long enough that they've been here once. Okay, I get it. It was fun. Glad I took my kids, but I don't think I'd go back. I don't know what the payoff is. Now, if I think back to my childhood, I'd think, oh, my gosh, I can see the Cowboys practice.
Yeah, it would have been the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I would have, ridden my bike up here and watched every day.
Well, just know, George, we're all standing with you this year by boycotting the media party. Like every single second team member.
Yeah.
We're just not going.
I know.
Because it's next week and we'll be gone.
Yeah, but it sounds better if we say we're standing united.
You know what?
As a team.
I'm against you guys. I'm coming back next week
just gonna fly out.
just to go to the media party.
All right.
See, I thought about coming back and still not going. That would make a statement.
Just golfing.
Just on my own dime. Yeah, come back, play a round of golf, and then go back.
Have you golfed yet?
No.
No?
No. I'm kind of like Tiger. I'm close to retirement, I think.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on
You
with
keep
me
missing
in the game.
cuts at majors. So you're like,
yeah, I can't play much. It's not very good. And Bob, in the meantime, is
breaking 80,
coming into his own. And yeah, I gotta reconcile my deal with golf. I'm not really sure what it is right now.
So speaking of that, me and George were having a couple drinks before dinner last night.
Yes.
And somehow we got on the topic of, I think Christian McCaffrey was brought up and how he was raised. He couldn't, very strict schedule, training and everything. And some kids just have that drive. It's very rare with people that age. And George brings up the what if. What if you would have had that at the age of 4 or whatever, you're playing hockey.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, would I have a statue in front of the AAC? With
they had me as
George,
Mike Madonna.
George is Madonna, and he's got his jersey flapping in the back.
With his Minnesota background.
Yeah.
But we've
if he just had the drive as a 4-year-old.
But if we stay at our plaza long enough, there should be a Musers statue when you guys are done. And I want it to be the Poydras photo of George and Craig standing stoically while Gordo's in full Poydras screen.
Gordo dressed as an 1800s woman.
Yes.
Or maybe early 20th century woman.
How confusing would people be if that's between Madonna and Dirk?
Who are these people?
What are they doing? Why is that guy in overalls? Were you wearing a military outfit? Yeah.
Like I had just come home from the Great War.
That was, you know what? The more I think about that play, the better it was.
Yeah.
Especially Gordo's acting job. That was incredible.
I'll never forget it. Like I've seen stuff on Broadway. We've seen Oscar caliber movies. Nah. All that pales in comparison to what.
Because everyone had an interpretation of what it meant.
Yes.
For a woman who was screaming out in pain, then suddenly aroused.
It hit every note of what art is and should be.
We were nominated for a Tony that year for Best Ensemble, but we did not win.
Oh, who'd you lose to?
Tonys were musicals. Are they just any play?
I don't know. Are they?
I don't know.
What do you get? What of?
They're stage awards,
Yeah, I
like
thought
just
they were
regular plays.
staged.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
any kind
keeping
of
you guys
stage
from an
work.
EGOT.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't believe they looked past that.
What a weird.
I just felt for Gordo
God, I
because he
can't
put
believe we
everything
didn't
into it.
stage that thing.
I know.
Because it ends with it's multimedia, remember? Because there's the film afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she yells Poydras and then looks up at the
All kinds of
at the huge
subliminal
screen.
messaging.
Yeah. I forgot about that part.
Of Woody Allen and George flashing on him.
Man, I forgot about that.
Snakehead.
That was great. That play was really good.
It was the best.
It didn't last that long. It wasn't a big time investment.
No.
Is that out there? Do we have video of the whole presentation?
It's on YouTube.
There has to be.
I want to watch that again.
Who made the film? Did you make
I
it?
did, yeah. I made it on my laptop.
Oh,
Poydras.
No, George and I didn't speak.
No, they had non-speaking roles.
yes. But their role was very
they didn't
vital
need
to
to
the
speak.
whole story.
Yeah.
What was your interpretation? Was I the dad and Craig was the long-lost son, Poydras? Or what was it?
Well,
I thought Poydras was just implied. Like, we didn't really know.
You didn't know.
I felt like Craig was the conflict in the now because he was the military officer. You were the forgotten past of America. And Gordo was trying to bring it all together with the passion of loss and longing.
That's an interesting take.
What did the
Says,
film
with
at
a
the end
sexual
represent?
tint.
Rare. This is on my YouTube. I don't even remember uploading this. It says Rare Poydras, a one-word play by Gordon Keith, unseen. So I'll throw Rare with an asterisk and unseen up there, making it seem like it's something.
You need to repost that.
The existence of Poydras, a one-word play by Gordon Keith, has been rumored and debated for years in modern art and underground theater circles. Some felt it was little more than an urban legend. Others claimed to have seen the original typewritten script. Some went so far as to claim they were hired as production crew for a staging 15 years ago that was scrapped on the eve of opening night due to death threats against the cast. So it's all this lore back behind us, and supposedly this is the hidden footage of it. But, yeah, we did this in 2018.
I feel like grad students are going to write long papers on that
Yes.
play
Mhm.
one day.
Yes.
Whatever cowboy you have on tomorrow, instead of asking
Let me
about
see your
football,
dress.
just show him the video and have him react to it and do some play-by-play of the play.
Yeah.
The beard and the white
Was
wig.
that a prairie
the
woman?
ponytail. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like a prairie woman. And you and
I look
Craig
like
just
Wade
stand there
Phillips.
the whole time.
It might have
God,
been
this
the
is
single
idiotic.
best. That was the zenith of the ticket.
Was that a night that we didn't do music? We just did like
That
Yeah.
was
it was like Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, we did sketches.
It was
There's the
pure
film.
electricity.
There's
a clown, all these evil
clowns and Santa Claus. Lee Harvey.
A lot of Lee Harvey.
Was that when he the year he got in trouble?
Manson.
There's Manson, of course.
Manson,
Bambi.
Bambi. For some reason, acupuncture, money, Miley Cyrus's tongue,
Yak's tongue.
Chewbacca mom's in there. There's a guy giving birth to looks like a possum. Andrew Cunanan, yeah. That's Muhammad Atta and Slender Man. And Poydras, and then snakes coming out of people's mouth, and then Jeff the Killer.
Dave Parker.
Was that Dave Parker?
The Cobra.
David Lee Roth.
Gosh.
Life,
placenta, death, vagina, horny. All these words flashing on the screen. Man. And this is like, with real intense music, too, that's going on. And then vaginal slice, born.
And then he's still dressed as
You're praying to
Yeah,
it.
then I'm doing that. And it was Ducey that flashed there for a second. Woody Allen, and then George. That was it.
Oh.
Poydras.
Magic.
That's great.
Well,
and then hashtag Poydras comes up. As if there's a movement
Let's
going
get it
on.
trending.
so in summation, Cowboys failed.
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 Yep.
All
They
right.
don't live up to the greatness of Poydras.
All right, fellas. Thank you for doing
Yes.
this.
You bet. Let's
Why
do it again.
Today doesn't suck.
Get the State Podcast daily at patreon.com/sportsgreek.
Once again, The Ticket presents Why Today Doesn't Suck.
This guy sucks.
And now, here are your hosts, Sean Bass and David Mino.
Out at Cowboys training camp. Special thanks to Dave and George and Junior and Gordon. Pretty much everybody at the station's been on our show today. And at 2:59, Ham.
Thank you, Mino Eatsies. Market and Bakery, GiveMeTheVent.com brings you Davidson Corpelson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ham. Today is July the 30th, the 212th day of the year. There are 154 days left in 2024, and on this day in history, in 1930, the first FIFA World Cup final, Bob.
All right.
Uruguay beats Argentina 4-2.
No, Uruguay.
In the inaugural event.
Yay.
In 1945, after delivering the A-bomb across the Pacific, the Indianapolis is torpedoed and sunk by Japanese submarine I-58. 880 of the crew died, many after being attacked by sharks.
Yeah, this was the bad one.
Right after they delivered the atomic bomb. Like, here. Okay, we're leaving. We're going back now.
That was
Goodbye.
And a gang of sharks took on the treading of water sailors who were attempting to be rescued.
Would you rather die by shark or bear?
In the water?
Well, you're probably not in the water by a bear.
Bear.
Maybe a polar bear. in
I
the
think
water.
bear.
Gang.
I think I would like
That'd
to
be quicker.
I would like to be on my own turf when I die.
Yeah. So they can
Yes.
find your body, so you can have a proper burial.
Or is it better off that they find nothing with a shark?
Yeah.
Like Corby could be still around.
So
Right, there's the mystery of it.
Yeah, I think I'd take that. I'd
Or-
take shark.
But I feel like they're
or
like,
with a shark.
can you imagine? I think it was nighttime too. Like
Pushes you over the
300,
edge.
300 dudes all sort of treading water and just sort of, and then suddenly
Big
one
water,
or two of them
ocean
start
water.
getting bit by sharks. Do you think there'd be much panic in the
I
water?
would just want to die
That
right
sounds
now.
so horrible.
Is it Connor
Yeah.
over there? Connor?
No. Connor. Oh, you hear me? Oh, okay. All right. Stop it!
Hey, Connor, are you there?
All right. In 1965, LBJ signed the Medicare bill, which went into effect in
Not
1966.
L4G. I did not sign a Medicare bill.
In 1975, the U.S. Teamsters president Jimmy Hoffa disappeared Gordon in suburban Detroit and was legally declared dead in 1982. I could never tell as a kid if he was a good guy or a bad guy. Like, when I
Kind of a
heard
gray
president
area.
of the Teamsters, but like mafia connected, and I don't know, man.
How did the Giant Stadium rumor start?
That he
He
got
was in the
buried
end
in there?
zone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the 50-yard line.
When they built
How
it.
did that? That was just a rumor.
Mhm.
Just somebody said it once, and okay.
I got to say, Teamsters, pretty kick-ass name.
I like
For
it.
your group.
In 1976, Gordon, Caitlyn Jenner won the Olympic decathlon.
Gordon?
So Gordon last time was like,
Thank you for not dead naming her.
yeah, Gordon's like, call it Bruce. Sissy. I don't care if I'm in California or not.
I don't care what these libs think.
No.
I'm in
No.
Texas.
That's
This is
Bruce to me.
California.
That's a Bruce.
She still got the javelin.
Well, we don't know about that. In 1991, Metallica released their single Enter Sandman.
Heck yeah. Album holds up, too.
Bob, are you sitting down?
Yes.
Are you able to tell if I'm sitting down?
You appear to be sitting down, Corby.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
In 1999,
Hey,
the
Connor, are you
film
there?
The Blair Witch Project was released in theaters.
Oh. Okay.
Didn't you fall for that hook, line, and sinker?
Fall for what?
The
It's a
Blair
documentary,
That
bro.
3 college-age students got lost in the woods and were subjected to witchcraft?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fell for it.
Witch bitch. Okay.
While rolling with their camcorders the whole time.
Yeah.
And now they're owed millions they'll never get.
Because they're missing.
Bro, the game has changed.
Is it Connor over there? Connor?
5 years later,
Stop.
to offset the pain that Blair Witch Project caused the Americas, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castles is released.
Dude.
It was what America's needed at the time.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Bro.
We might need a screening of Harold and Kumar.
I think I've seen it once. I don't remember. I remember the second one where they go to
Gitmo?
Guantanamo
Yeah.
Bay.
Both classics. Double feature.
Okay.
In 2015, hackers revealed they stole data from HBO, including episodes and scripts from Game of Thrones.
Hunter. And they watched the ending and they're like, this wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Birthdays, Bud Selig is 90. Didn't know he was still alive.
Baseball?
I'll be honest. I didn't either.
Jurgen Klinsmann is 60. The aforementioned Misty May Trainer of volleyball is 47.
Maddie May Trainer's wife.
U.S. Open champion Graham McDowell is 45.
Rangers.
He's not here.
All right, Gordon just handed me this note, and it says,
violation.
Corby, just wanted you to know that it's Hope Solo's 43rd birthday. I like to call her roast beef. Gordon.
Why is that?
I don't know. He said he hands me stuff. I read it.
I
calls her the Big Montana.
High five to that dude, man.
Jared Walsh is 31.
Ranger. Sweet spot zone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Former Ranger, former White Sox.
Angel.
Former Angel. I don't know if he's anywhere now.
Here's Sandstorm.
Noted strongman Arnold Schwarzenegger is 77.
Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
Bill Atherton is 77. Die Hard. John Reno, Gene Reno, Leon the Professional in Mission Impossible is 76.
The ex-attorney general?
John Reno's dance party.
Janet Reno.
Anita Hill is 68. Man.
Pubes.
She was close to getting that guy run out. Richard Linklater is 64. Lawrence Fishburne.
Linklater's son.
Oh, I know
What?
this guy. Black dude.
Lawrence Fishburne is 63.
Is it Connor over there, Connor?
No, he's not.
Morpheus in The Matrix.
Event Horizon 2, right?
Deep Cover. Another
so many
good
things.
Lawrence
And, of course, he
Fishburne
played
movie.
Donald Sterling.
Oh.
In, well, wait.
I don't know.
No.
He
Not-
played Doc Rivers.
I don't know if
Totally different
He's got
characters.
range, for sure.
that would
I don't
be
see
an
color
act- no,
or
that would be an acting
sports or
performance.
acting at all. No one
Actually,
said anything.
wasn't that? Yeah, that's not that bad.
No. Lisa Kudrow is 61.
The Best Friend.
She's in a new show. I hear it's real good.
Loved her.
Vivica Fox is 60.
Friend of the show.
Terry Crews, Gordo, is 56.
Legend.
That is President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho. And Terry in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Christopher Nolan is 54.
Batman.
Tom Green, Bob, is 53.
Greatness.
Who is this friend?
He's
that you
only
have
got
on
one
Bad
known
Radio?
ad.
Is it Glenn Humphrey?
Might be Glenn, yeah.
Yeah, his sidekick. What's Tom Green up to these days?
Christine Taylor is 53. Is that Ben Stiller's wife?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think ex-wife and now current wife.
Hey, Connor, are you there?
Hang on. Brad Hargraves, the drummer of Third Eye Blind, is 53.
Oh, the human rain delay.
Maddie.
Hillary Swank is 50. She a $1 Million Baby.
I used
Jamie
to love her
Presley is
magazine.
Jamie Presley is 47. What was that show that she was in? TV show like the guy that the guy
My
that,
Name is Earl.
Yeah, like is that what it was
That
called?
was a good show.
I think so. Was she in that?
Yeah.
That was a good show.
Gina Rodriguez is 40. She's Jane from Jane the Virgin. Let's see. King Lil G is a rapper. Is 38. Jason, Jason Richardson of Born of Osiris is 33. Lando. And Phineas is 27. Billie Eilish's brother.
Not
How about
Ferb.
Ferb?
Right.
Oh, Bob, we beat each other to it.
And the name of our elf at our house for Elf on the Shelf.
there.
Right there. Get out.
What if it was a tiny Mark Elfenbein?
Right there.
Kind of
We have
horny
a
all the time.
Little tiny Jewish elf.
Yeah.
Just ready.
Heavily
It's
cologne.
real loud,
Yeah.
yeah.
Falling for fake stories all the time.
Saw that
We
last
saw that
night.
happen in the
From a mile
wild.
away.
What did he fall for?
It was
Blake
it was
Snell?
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll.
A report from FAX Sports that said Blake Snell got traded to
Wow.
the Padres.
Yeah. Elf, put
Oh, it's
Facebook,
Facebook.
away.
Ah.
It's okay.
Henry Ford, born on this day, now dead.
Go
And
take
dead on
pictures
this
of
day,
girls.
still dead.
Nazis.
Paul Rubens.
Greatness.
He died of cancer at 70 in 2023. Bill Walsh, killed by OJ in 2007.
Right, lanced by a pitchfork. Yeah.
And Otto
4,
von Bismarck,
3,
the German chancellor who helped unify Germany.
Greatest.
Dead at 83.
And
we're done. All right. We have a player in like 4 minutes. All right.
Bye, Lando.
Bye, Mina. Broadcasting
Four.
live from the TXU Energy.
By the way, can I give a quick celebrity sighting from our dinner?
Hell yes, you can.
So,
because this was very exciting.
So we went to the same restaurant that we've been to the last several years. This is only my third camp, so it's the only team dinner venue that I remember. And so we were in that same back room that we always are. Where
It's an indoor-outdoor dining experience in which wherever you sit, you're fine. It's the wind cascading around.
There's so many outdoor experiences here. I'd recommend.
Yeah, it's great. And so afterwards, we're all walking out, and we are going towards the exit, and everybody's splitting off to their individual cars. And as we're walking towards the front door of the restaurant, I look over to the right, and sitting in the very first table, just if you walk into the restaurant, the first table to the left, there is a very famous person and their family, guy, wife, and 3 kids, I believe. And I look over, and I do a double take, and then I make eye contact with this person, and we have a moment of recognition, like he sees that I see him, and I know who he is.
There's Eli Jordan.
And so
you saw Eli Jordan?
I give him a thumbs up, and then he gives me a head nod. And then I immediately ask everyone as I go outside, like, hey, did you see? It was Mikey from The Bear, John Bernthal.
The man who committed suicide and hid all the money in soup cans to ensure that...
In tomato cans.
Tomato cans, that our friend the Bear would have a...
Yeah, the older brother on the FX show The Bear.
Yeah,
That's the Punisher.
He's only in flashbacks.
Yes, he is the Punisher. He also was Shane on The Walking Dead,
the
original.
Yeah, that's where I know him from, is from The Walking Dead, because he was a very polarizing figure in The Walking Dead. And, yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff. What's wild...
So handsome.
What's wild is I started following him today on Instagram.
Really?
Because...
You wanted to case out his whether he lives here?
No, I honestly, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But my friend who came up from L.A. to hang out with me this morning, Vague, we might have gone up to Ojai with some sticks,
right,
just to see if we could start a fire up there. And he said, "Do you know who lives up here? John Bernthal." And he says, "I follow him on Instagram, but he lives in Ojai, and he's always putting stuff out about Ojai." And I knew you saw somebody famous last night. I didn't know his name was John Bernthal.
We talked about it in the car.
No,
all the way
I know,
back,
but
you were in the car.
But he used the character name.
Yeah, he said Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey Berzato.
Yeah, and I didn't put those 2 things together that we were actually discussing. I had 2 different conversations about the exact same guy who apparently lives in Ojai, and
we were
had
debating
dinner last night in Ventura.
That was the thing, because Dave, you were like, what is he doing here? I'm like, well, he probably lives here. People live here? Could be vacationing here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about how Ventura it's not a resort type town. It's a little more rough around the edges as LA beach towns go.
Right.
And so even though that was a very nice restaurant, I found it odd that he was there, but makes sense if he's just up the road in Ojai that's kind of in their rotation.
Yeah, and maybe he's just staying at Ojai for a period of time. I don't know that he actually fully lives there, but his gram from a few days ago is Knuckleheads doing Ojai-S. And there he is.
Family.
There he is with his family in a vehicle doing Ojai-S. So there you go.
That's our first major celebrity encounter, except for Ducey and Sam.
Yes, and Sam's cousin.
And Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, various Cowboys.
JT.
Okay. Well, let's skip the intro to the helpline and just play the helpline.
2-1.
And I believe this guy would like to call Bob out.
Yeah.
Why are we calling Bob out every single helpline?
Well,
now? I feel like it's like 3 out of 4 days.
You have controversial takes.
Yeah, you went way over the line here, man.
And
like, I couldn't believe you said this.
Yeah, this is among...
You're freaking me out.
This is among the worst things that you've ever said. Just listen to this guy. On the ticket?
Okay.
One of the...
Okay.
Hey, Hardline. I just finished listening to one of the worst takes ever given by Bob Sturm, saying that the United States has the best-looking women in the entire world.
That's not what I said.
I would argue to say that they're not even top 10. I don't know what Bob's been smoking, but I just finished watching Cup of America, and you just look at the fans, and they speak for themselves. And then I say the women in the Middle East also are very underrated, just because they have hijabs and they hide their face half the time. But they hard.
Yeah, so
okay,
like think about
first of all, I didn't
all
say
of the
that.
secret hots in the Middle East.
Yeah, that hide their faces.
No, listen, we're all
like if only we could rip those hoods off.
Most of us are designed to find women attractive, regardless of where they're from. So I was basically going on the such a forced shot right there. But anyway,
give Bob points for that.
But anyway, it's the college football ism is based on the idea that if you said who has the best quarterback, every single college football fan would homer up for their quarterback, even if they know deep down inside it's not true, but they just feel this animal instinct.
So you were just trying to
homerize,
build up our American women?
No, it wasn't my take. I think if you review the tape, you would say, I think the majority of Americans would vote America as having the hottest women, which just shows humanity is just filled with homers. It wasn't an actual scientific study, and it certainly wasn't my view. I think we know my general view, which actually would put the United States at a bit of a disadvantage over some other countries.
Like you and
more of the Latin style.
You enjoy
countries.
When they get closer to the equator and maybe turn a little bit more brown.
That's my reputation. And it's just going to be difficult to shake that reputation, but fair, I suppose. So yeah, I just think if you had 330 million Americans and you had them vote, yes, there would be people that say Brazil, there would be people that say Sweden, there would be people apparently that would say the Middle East. Cool. I'm saying the majority of the 330 million would push the United States to the top of the rankings because we're all homers and we love Lee Greenwood and we don't like to always admit it.
The greatest country in America.
That's right.
Or in the world.
But yeah, I think if you've ventured off to Spain or the Czech Republic or Portugal,
Puerto
Rico, any of them, you would be like, okay, this is fun.
Turns out there's hot girls everywhere.
Yeah, and also if you are using like Copa America to paint an entire country with the brush of the horny cameraman finding two girls in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
I think you might find that that's not a perfect
That's
representation.
The 1%?
Yes, I think that's the case. But anyway.
All right. Well, if anybody else has anything to bitch about concerning Bob, please call the helpline.
That's what it's becoming.
What a wonderful week of just ball busting it's been. All right, let's come back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Dave.
Thank you. Well, as Corby mentioned during his Olympic update a short time ago, and spoiler alert if you're like packaging the Olympics for your evening viewing, but Simone Biles did it. She has won her 5th Olympic gold medal. She and her USA teammates, Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, and Jade Carey, they beat out Italy and Brazil for first place in the team final.
I would like to make an editorial comment concerning the outfits of the United States Gymnastics women's team.
Okay, here we go.
I don't like them. I also think that, in general, they all look ridiculous on everyone.
There you go.
They're too sparkly. They're too tight. They don't...
Have you just started watching gymnastics?
Yeah, this is a 50-year editorial, Dave.
Okay.
It's been building for years, decades, if you will.
Builds up.
It's just, can't you wear just something like, I don't know, like workout clothes with, say, USA on it? Why do you got to be all sparkly and dumb?
Hot sports opinions.
There you go.
Maybe they should just wear Viore from Livy Dunn, the Livy Dunn collection.
Perfect. Absolutely. Maybe they should compete on the beach with her during her commercial.
Can you remind me the Biles Olympic controversy of 2020?
She wasn't
She had the
doing good mentally.
She had the twisties.
So they won in 2016, right? The team.
Mm-hmm.
They won today.
Mm-hmm.
And they had won going back several, but she's obviously just been a part of 16, 20, and 24. So she was on the team. They took the silver, but before like the team finals, she bowed out because of mental wear and tear. Was that what happened?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she described the twisties as when you're tumbling, you lose your orientation. You have no idea which way is down, and it's dangerous.
That sounds very dangerous
because you can.
But wasn't she criticized heavily for?
Well, she mentioned the fact that she needs to take a break mentally, and everyone's like, "Ugh!
Yeah,
what do you mean?"
Yeah, there were people that jumped on her for that.
They called her a quitter or being selfish or stuff like that. Right?
Yeah. They tell her that you made millions of dollars. You deserve to please us in our country.
So is this a giant redemption story today? This
well, she's the oldest Olympic.
Yes, ever.
So she's like 40.
No, she's like 27, I think.
Oh.
But it's it feels like a wonderful story, and she feels like our greatest Olympic hero this year.
Yeah,
she
and she has
Sorry,
she has the opportunity for
Steph
for 4 more golds in the Paris Games. So
she's so likable.
I know,
but the reason I bring it up in Enews is the
black girl, right?
USA women's gymnastics team is box office, not only ratings wise, but A-list celebrities were all in attendance. So I don't know if he's A-list, but her NFL husband, Jonathan Owens, was there.
I saw him.
Also, Jason Kelsey.
Yep.
Serena Williams was there. Natalie Portman was there. Nicole Kidman was there. And several others that are not mentioned here. But
Cray Trey.
Cray Trey, I believe, was there.
Is she ridiculously rich or just sort of rich?
Oh, she's $20 million at least.
Lando, look that up.
I mean, I may be undercutting her.
I've got the number if you'd like.
You have the number?
I do. That is correct.
All right. How close is Corby at 20?
She has earned an estimated $20 million, but that is not her current net worth.
50?
Too high.
30.
Still too high.
Okay,
20,
so
25.
She's made She is net worth is $16 million.
Okay.
Okay.
I wish I had 16 million.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What a controversial take.
I know, right? One more. I know people are worn out over the Last Supper thing.
I wish I had 17 million.
Yeah, that's when all the chicks like you.
Right. The Last Supper thing. I know everybody's tired of it, but
Da Vinci's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Trump weighed in. He told Fox News, "I'm very open-minded, but I thought what they did was a disgrace." So he's playing both sides.
Trust me, he didn't care.
He didn't care. But one of the key figures in that bit of the opening ceremony has filed a lawsuit. Now, not sure who she's suing, but she is a DJ. Her name is Barbara Butch. And
Barbara Butch.
We're going to need to see some ID.
And
Kind of awesome.
her lawyer says that Butch has been threatened with death, torture, and rape.
Well,
and has also been the target of numerous anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist, and grossophobic insults.
Grossophobic. There's a new one for me.
I guess
it's like thunder sleet.
I guess because she's a big old girl.
Well, I don't think that probably plays into it.
Well, Butch, who calls herself a love activist, she was the one in a silver headdress that looked like a halo, and she was at the center of the Last Supper party, which the organizers say was a tribute to Dionysus.
Right.
It was like supposed to be a Greek feast.
Yeah, it did. It didn't show like who was supposed to be Jesus eating Wingstop or something.
Yeah,
trying to modernize it up a little bit.
But Can I go back? Did you say grossophobic?
Yes, I just said that's a new word.
I know, but
is that fatphobic?
I'm just wondering how it worked into a story because it sounds like somebody made it up
it's
today.
It's a quote. It's a quote from her attorney.
She
and
was
then
in a
the
movie
guy
called
who
VR Bangers.
The guy or the performer who played Dionysus who was painted blue and had the long hair and the
Tobias.
beard. The confusing Dionysus character.
Was she the one holding her head?
Philippe Catherine is the performer. He told a French newspaper that the Last Supper was not referenced at all in preparations. That
right.
It's
people
it's
mistook
open
it. They
to
misread it.
interpretation,
Right.
and everybody's butthurt about it. But it is not hurting Olympic ratings, at least so far. I do have a spoiler as it pertains to Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you have not seen it yet and you don't want a cameo spoiled for you,
That's a cameo.
Then don't listen right now. But Channing Tatum has gone public thanking Ryan Reynolds because he says he owes Ryan Reynolds probably forever. So he shared a photo, 2 side-by-side photos of him and Ryan Reynolds, one from 10 years ago when they first previewed Deadpool at Comic-Con, and then from this past weekend when they previewed Deadpool and Wolverine at Comic-Con. And so he says, these pictures are almost 10 years apart to the day. I sat in the audience when Ryan Reynolds showed his first peek of Deadpool to the world, and I ran backstage right after and found him and hugged him and was like, holy S, you did it, man. It's perfect. And he said, I didn't know him at all back then, but since then, there's almost no one that has had my back in this industry more than Ryan Reynolds. And he says, I thought I had lost Gambit forever, but Reynolds fought for me and Gambit. So Gambit is the cameo character that Channing Tatum played. And so I didn't know this, but it's an X-Men, a mutant. And so he and his producing partner, they spent 4 years trying to develop a standalone Gambit film. But then when Disney and 20th Century Fox merged in 2019, it was killed.
Yeah.
And so he thought that character was dead. He would never get to play Gambit, and all of that was for naught. But Ryan Reynolds helped fight to get him into Deadpool versus Wolverine. So
I'll share my thoughts on Gambit at 5:50 when we review the film.
Okay.
But I think it does verify once again that Ryan Reynolds may be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just a
There's
good dude.
no doubt.
He's just a good dude.
Good dude.
Academy Awards
He could probably be in our gang.
are still looking for a host. So
Gang.
ABC, once again, will air the Oscars not until March 2nd of next year, so they have some time, but already they have been turned down twice.
Oh, no.
So Jimmy Kimmel, he has done the last 2 and 4 total, and he has already said no. They thought that he would say yes because he's such a team player.
Right, and it's ABC.
But he ultimately said no. And so then their second choice was John Mulaney. So he did the Governor's Awards earlier this year and evidently killed it. And so everyone was like, well, that was the audition for the Oscars. He's absolutely good enough to do it, and if he'll do it, that's the guy. Well, and in the past, he was asked, would you ever consider hosting the Oscars? And he said, sure, why not? It would be really fun. It's hosting the Academy Awards. Johnny Carson did that. Like, who wouldn't?
Right.
And he, even as recently as June, he said he wouldn't necessarily say no, but then when they actually did offer him the gig, he said, I can't do it. I don't know if it's related to
Like he's got other things going
Munn's
on.
health, or if he's going on tour again with his stand-up, but he was just like, I can't make that commitment. So
Bummer,
they're
because
still
John
looking.
Mulaney would absolutely be perfect.
Yeah, he needs to host everything.
He really does.
Like he has that it factor like Ricky Gervais back in the day. The irreverence and just the willingness to say anything but also be likable.
Yes, incredible, like a people pleaser. Unintentional almost.
Right.
There's a Paul Rudd quality to him.
We have a couple of music stories to finish out Enews today. Live Nation has reported their second quarter earnings. So these are the first earnings that they've announced since the Justice Department sued them over antitrust violations back in May. So revenue up 7% year over year. So revenue is $6 billion. Operating income is up 21% to $466 million. 39 million fans went to concerts put on by Live Nation in the quarter, up 5% year over year. The only negative on their balance sheet for the quarter, they spent an additional $94 million related to the Travis Scott Astroworld litigation.
Oh.
They finally made the final settlements, the wrongful death lawsuits, because of the 10 concert goers that died. And so they have paid out a total of $280 million this year, but 94 in this last quarter.
Things you don't count on when you're making budget is a crowd of people getting mowed down.
Yeah. But they're doing great.
They are.
They are doing so great.
280
billion.
We had this story a while back, but now it has officially turned into a lawsuit. So the 1975, they played a concert, a festival in Malaysia, the Good Vibes Festival. And so the organizers of the festival are suing the 1975, seeking $2.4 million in damages after the 1975's onstage antics resulted in the festival being shut down.
Weed?
So they were given all of the prohibitions, all of the rules that they had to abide by in order to perform, including not swearing, not smoking, not drinking, not taking off your clothes, and not talking about politics or religion. And so
What else is there, man?
They signed a contract. They were paid $350,000, and they agreed to abide by the rules. So then the night before, they decided, man, we don't want to play this stupid festival. But then at the last minute, they were convinced, go ahead and play. But then they were like, okay, we'll play.
But we're going to say stuff.
But we're not going to obey these rules. And so they played a completely different set list. And they acted in a way that intended to breach the guidelines.
What's up with your gay politics?
So
gays.
They accused Maddie Healy, the singer, of drinking alcohol. They hid a bottle of wine near the drum kit, and so he was drinking that. He was acting in a drunken way. He was smoking cigarettes. He appeared to vomit. He appeared to vomit on stage. He was spitting towards the audience. He gave a profanity-laden speech. And then he pretended to make out with the bass player.
Oh, man, he did it all.
Yeah. So, and then immediately after they left the festival, they went back to their hotel, collected their luggage, and went straight to the airport.
So they didn't get arrested or anything?
No, I think they were briefly detained.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did not go well, and so now
That's
they're
rock and roll.
sued.
Is that the guy that was dating Taylor Swift?
Yeah, he's the dude with the chest tats, and he's a brat. And finally,
Harmon.
Do you remember the singer Halsey?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So she got sick. She had lupus and a T-cell lympho.
Don't look at me.
Something disorder. I don't know.
Lupus.
So she took time off in 2022.
Yeah.
And then she was excited to return to music. And she just released a new single and video for the lead track off of her forthcoming new album, and the song is called Lucky. And so today, this is what she posted. She said, "My own fans are hands down meaner to me than any other people on the planet. Not speaking for all of you, of course, it used to be just a minority that were awful to me. Now it seems like a majority have only stuck around to chime in occasionally with their opinion of how much they hate me or how awful I am. I don't know, man. I almost lost my life. I'm not going to do anything that doesn't make me happy anymore. I can't spiritually afford it. When I got sick, all I could think about was getting better so I could come back and be a part of this again. But I don't even know what this is anymore, and I want to crawl in a hole, and I regret coming back.
God. They're bagging on our new song?
I guess they're like, what is this crap?
God, you were so much cooler before lupus.
You're better off dead.
Well, I think we need to bring in CCH Pounder for more on this story.
I can relate to you, Halsey.
And scene.
That's all I have.
So
back to chasing Vic Mackey.
There you go.
Get better, Halsey.
Get better, Halsey, indeed. Okay.
You're hot.
We had a...
that's why I care.
We had a very, very, very special sleuth mission for Dave Lane concerning Van Halen and Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. Did he execute it? Yes, he did.
So, yesterday, you may have heard the good news. We found the audio. We were looking at it feverishly for about a week of the brief conversation we had sometime in the past about Jerry Jones and Van Halen.
March.
Yeah, it was right after the scouting combine.
Or the owners' meetings is when he...
Oh, the owners' meetings, that's right.
When he had the get-together and he was doodling on a pad.
He was on the bang bus and he was talking to reporters and he was doodling on his legal pad, his cowboy legal pad.
He had a prop where it looked like he had football things, but then if you zoomed in, you could just see it's
circles.
There's no actual language on there. It's doodles. And so we were talking about that, and it led us to this audio from March 25th's edition of the Hardline.
Looks like he tried to draw a field goal.
I think it's clearly the Van Halen
And it went
VH.
around. Yeah, right?
Or perhaps Def Leppard in the proper font, but regardless.
Can he name one Van Halen or Def Leppard song?
Yes.
No, he can't.
No way.
He's got to know.
Training camp.
He's got to know Jump.
No. Why would he know Jump?
Because he was like 40 when Jump was out.
He does not know.
You think I'm bad for not knowing Mariah Carey songs? That dude doesn't know anything.
All right, look up Jerry Jones' age in 1984.
Well, we know what it is. He's 80. That was 40 years ago. He's 40.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm willing to put at least $5 that
DJ, write this down.
That he knows who
when
David
we go to
Roth
training
is.
camp, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Not
All right?
a chance.
We'll do it.
Not one.
He's got to know David Lee Roth.
So when Van Halen came on the scene in 1978, he was 34.
Yes.
Bob.
Like, did he like music?
He wasn't listening to that.
So it is our quest through camp to determine if Jerry Jones, in fact, does know a Van Halen song. He can't just say, yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, he has to give us a title.
A song or a member of Van Halen.
Yeah.
We'll accept either one.
Either one.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have not had opportunity.
Michael Anthony was on bass.
We have not had opportunity to interface with Jerry one-on-one. Hopefully we will.
It's certainly coming.
The media party is not until next
So to
week.
speak.
So we will not get a chance to rub elbows with the Jones family at Nobu this year. I know everyone's crying for us, but that ordinarily would be our best opportunity. So we're just going to have to see if we can get him in passing at some point one of these practices. But yesterday, or actually Sunday, I came out here with Donnie, and it was my mission to get the pulse of the players. Do the players believe that Jerry knows a Van Halen song, and do they?
I know, that's a fair question too.
because these are all Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And so
Many born after the year 2000.
Van Halen was a long time ago. So let's have a listen and see if I was able to get to the bottom of, does Jerry know a Van Halen song?
Jake Ferguson, can I get a quick question for you? Sure. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't know.
Zach, you have a second?
No. I'm going to go in and work out.
Okay.
Are they signing autographs?
I'm just kidding. Those were the ones who rejected me. So Jake Ferguson and Zach Martin. I didn't include them in the real bit, but I just wanted to give you guys a false.
Sometimes rejection.
What an awesome piece of audio.
I wanted to make you think that was the bit, but that wasn't the bit.
No,
okay.
it's a bit behind the bit.
That was just a meta joke on the bit. No, here is the actual bit, and so every player, either I have them introduce themselves if I didn't know who they were, or I call them by name. So everyone in this is identified except for one who is he was walking with his buddy, and I don't remember his number. So there's only one mystery player on here. But here it is. Here is the pulse of Cowboys camp. Does Jerry Jones know a Van Halen song? Can you give me your name and number?
Denzel Jackson, 95.
Okay. Quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
No, I cannot.
Can you name a Van Halen member?
No, I cannot. Hey, where you going?
Do you know Diamond Dave?
Diamond Dave?
You know Eddie Van Halen?
Yeah, I know Eddie Van Halen.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
You know Eruption?
Eruption? No, I don't.
Okay. Do you think Jerry Jones knows the Van Halen song?
I bet he does.
That's on his playlist?
I bet he does.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Can you give me your name and number?
Leon Falco, number 93.
Tires Week, number 91.
Okay, quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I think he can.
I think he can, too.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
I don't even know who that is.
I know he can.
You?
Hell
no. Name a number?
Jason Johnson, 53.
Okay, quick question for you. I know you're young.
Yeah.
Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't even know who that is, so.
You don't know who Van Halen is?
Nah.
Have you ever heard of David Lee Roth?
Nah.
Sammy Hagar?
Nah.
Eddie Van Halen?
Nah.
Jump?
Nope. What's the genre?
It's like hair metal, like 80s hair metal.
I don't know none of them.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you. What's your name and number?
Carl Davis, 98.
Okay, quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
Yeah.
Like what album, what era do you think?
I don't know a Van Halen song.
You don't know a Van Halen song? Panama? Jump?
I probably know if I heard it, but
Right.
I don't know a Van Halen song.
Are you a Van Halen or a Van Hagar guy?
I don't know what that is either.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Name and number?
David Durden, number 85.
Okay. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I couldn't name a Van Halen song.
Not one.
Not one.
Can you name a Van Halen member?
No, I don't know who Van Halen. I know he's like a musician. I don't know anything.
Eddie Van Halen, he's dead, but he was a guitar player.
I bet Jerry probably could. I can though. I
Okay.
have no idea.
All right. Have you ever heard of David Lee Roth?
No.
Sammy Hagar?
No.
Okay, man. Got some homework.
I do. I got some homework. I'm saying I'm caught up in the new generation of music, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, man. Thank you. Hey, Cooper. Can I ask you a quick question? So, Cooper Rush, do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I can't, so I don't know.
Nothing.
He probably can.
Do you know a Van Halen member?
Not the guy to ask.
You've never heard of David Lee Roth?
Nope.
Eddie Van Halen?
Van Halen, I assume.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Good
the music guy.
Okay. Well, I just thought maybe, like even 90s, like Van Hagar, like Right Here, Right Now, that one.
I mean, I know a song, but I wouldn't know it was them.
Okay. All right, cool, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Name and number?
Cody Shapley, 65.
Okay, one question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
100%.
Which album, which era?
He knows them all, man.
Like Hot for Teacher?
Yeah, Jerry Jones is a rock star, man.
Okay, all right. Panama, maybe? Do you think he can reach down between his legs and ease the seat back?
I can't answer that.
All right, thanks, man.
Mozzie Smith, quick question for you. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I can't even name a Van Halen song.
Can you name a member of Van Halen?
Nah, it ain't.
Two of them have the name Van Halen. Luke Schoonmaker, question for you. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's probably right up his alley.
Can you?
Van Halen?
Like, do you have a song or an album?
Van Halen. I'm blank. I get them mixed up with Aerosmith all the time.
Right. Like Hot for Teacher, Jump.
Jump, yep.
I'll Wait.
Yep.
Running with the Devil.
Yep.
Eruption.
Okay. Yeah, those are some of the greatest. Right?
Hey, quick question, Zeke. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I have no idea.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
I cannot.
Like Panama, Hot for Teacher?
Maybe if I heard it, but
okay.
I don't know if that's what my parents listen to, or is that now? I'm so sorry.
It's the 80s.
80s, yeah.
80s and 90s. Started in the 70s. Look up David Lee Roth. He did some fantastic high kicks. Maybe you can work it into a celebration.
Hey, maybe.
All right, man. Thanks. So everyone thinks that Jerry can name one, but none of them can.
We have the perfect synergy going on with, I think Jerry's too old to name a Van Halen song, and they're all too young. And everybody in the middle kind of can.
Yeah, I did not encounter any offensive linemen on Sunday, and I'm guessing of the demographic, they would have the most likely to have at least one who is a Van Halen fan.
Schoonmaker gave me some hope.
All the white guys did.
Because he could at least identify that Aerosmith is in the Van Halen
Right. The fact
bin.
that Cooper Rush has never heard of them?
He was like 31?
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, never even heard of them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that it's an upset because we all think of Van Halen as one of the biggest bands in the world, but it has been so long.
Dude, I think you could do the same thing with U2. You could probably do it with the Rolling Stones. Like, you could do it with almost every big rock and roll band.
Probably, huh? Like, you're not sure if Mozzie Smith...
Well, I'm saying go over. Like, he went over. I think you go over on almost any rock and roll band. Right? Like, what one would there be? We're like, oh, yeah.
Coldplay?
No way.
No way. I mean, when you go back 40 years, this is what's tough for us to handle as humans. The distance between today and Van Halen's Jump is the distance between Van Halen's Jump and freaking World War II.
Right, the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
It's the exact same distance to, like, D-Day. Like, right? Like, Van Halen's Jump is right in the middle between D-Day and here.
Well, I think from the Jerry perspective, once we track him down and get it, that I now am more confident that Jerry knows it over a play. I may have been beforehand, just because that's impossible for a 25-year-old dude to identify. But Jerry at least was around. He was living and in the moment of them as an adult.
It's not his
jam.
It's not his wheelhouse. He may have heard of Van Halen, but there's no way he could name a member or a song.
But remember, 84, we had the monoculture. We weren't as fragmented. If it was a big thing,
yeah, but you were
got
either
to more of
you
us.
think Jerry was watching MTV?
If you were into country music, you were into country music. You did not sashay over into that arena of rock and roll.
But do we know he was into country over rock and roll?
Well, we know that he definitely was more than he was rock and roll. Now, he may surprise us.
Well, we can't leave till we visit with
can't.
him on this one very vexing question. Dave, thank you for your work
Thank
in the
you,
field.
Dave.
You're welcome.
All right.
Monster, that's what he likes about Texas.
Brought to you by
Twin Peaks.
Well, Bob, since I know what you're doing here, I feel confident in leading us to the promised land.
Please do.
Today, we learned that Deadpool and Wolverine has surpassed the $500 million global box office mark.
Incredible.
Which is just insane, surpassing all expectations. And we wanted to be part of the scene. We wanted to be part of water cooler talk. And so on Sunday, Dave organized a group outing as most of the guys came in about the same time on Sunday mid-afternoon. And away we went to Oxnard, California. Me, Dave, Bob, Gordon, Sean, Mino, Michael, our engineer, Killer, our engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
So 8 of us in total, and we saw it on the large format screen in a very nice theater at a huge shopping center in Oxnard.
Yes. And I don't know the totality of people we went with that are that into Marvel. Like, Mino had never seen any Marvel movie, ever. I think Sean may have seen a smattering. Killer seems pretty well versed.
Yeah, he was nerding out in the car before and after.
Yeah. Me, I've seen both Deadpools and a few of the other ones. Iron Man, I've seen Iron Man. But, man, I'm not one of these Marvel guys that's has seen them all or anything like that. I think I saw the last Avengers movie with the kids.
I wish you were.
I know. I feel like there's a void.
I agree.
You, I know, have seen maybe, 3 or 4 total?
I saw a lot of them, and then my boys sort of aged out, and then I stopped going to superhero movies, and I was okay with it.
And this is different.
We had a nice relationship, and then we went our separate ways.
So I think in the, as when the aliens come down and they analyze what was going on at this time in our world, they will see that we had this phase, this 30-year phase of being really into these types of movies. But this is the one that will stick out. This, not just this one, but Deadpool in general. It's completely different from anything else. It's like, yes, they have this universe, but he's barely part of it,
Yeah, and he plays into that.
Yeah.
The character and Ryan Reynolds. I mean, the fact that they constantly break the fourth wall, that they make pop culture references to our pop culture, not in the MCU.
Yeah.
Jokes about the actors' personal lives.
Yeah. It's unlike any other franchise. And I think even that's part of what Gordon appreciated about it, because he had seen one of the Deadpools, but he's not a big superhero guy,
right,
obviously, because he's reading Kierkegaard and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he did thoroughly enjoy it, and mostly for that reason, just because it is so subversive and so anti the formula.
Yeah, I would say my quick review is I really enjoyed the experience, and I think it helps to go with your buddies and kind of do something as a group. And I don't know. I mean, it was...
You laughed.
Clearly an experience. It was absolutely funny. There were some parts that really get you fired up. I thought the scene that you sort of previewed on Friday with the Like a Prayer from Madonna, the rarity of her allowing a song to be used in a movie, and then you see the scene and you're like, oh,
okay,
this is awesome. A lot to like. I will also say I'm not sure I picked up on 25% of the references. It felt like there were levels upon levels upon levels of jokes, and I think my level of experience in it was extremely, as a casual, I found it enjoyable, but I also thought that I was like faking my way through a class that I had slept in all semester and tried to show up for the final.
Well, maybe you would have been better off sitting next to the guy that was sitting on the front row of our section, who was
mansplaining or nerd-splaining everything to
Dude.
anyone who would listen.
Yeah, those types of people need to
Okay.
not be at my theater.
I'm glad you brought them up because that's what I walked away with, beyond the fact that it was incredibly fun, and I'm glad I went to it and all that.
Incredibly funny, incredibly violent, incredibly
Yes.
gory.
Like, I mean, the violence
Tons of fan service.
is so ridiculous that it's part of the comedy.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous and so over the top.
Yes.
Yeah, just the way the way in which Deadpool kills and injures people is played for comedy.
Yes. But
in a John Wick sort of way, but also in a we're kind of smiling as we do this sort of way.
Way more the latter, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because John Wick still is serious and dark.
Yeah, but I just feel like they realize when they're making it, this is ridiculously over the top, and we want it that way.
Yeah, it has to be that way. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. It's too gross. But the people in the theater, and I know this is not unique to Oxnard, California, or Dallas, Texas, or wherever this was screened over the weekend or will continue to be screened or shown. The amount of nerd clapping.
I feel like Ham is in this group.
No,
I'm not a big clapper at the movies.
Did you ever nerd clap?
Ham, did you clap when a character showed up on the screen?
I did not, no.
You swear?
Swear to God.
Or when you learned that there was about to be a fight.
Even
No.
And like, oh, here we go, guys. Now it's happening. Here we go. There were no less than 24 clap moments.
When you saw Blade, Ham, you didn't want to
Spoiler.
clap?
Hey,
I can't say
Dill.
that.
That's all right. You're good. You're good. You're good.
I don't know what the spoilers are because I've never seen any of the movies.
But, like, what are they cheering? Like, is this genuinely making their life better seeing a character from 30 years ago or whatever, a potential fight? Like, oh, man!
It's just the culmination of their fan fantasy, their fanfic that they've written in their heads. It's finally coming true on the screen.
Yeah, and like there was a joke in there from Ryan Reynolds when there was about to be a big fight, and he was like, "Get your tube socks ready, nerds," or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they're pointing out at what dorks there are that go to these things and are just obsessed with it all.
But the thing that makes this movie even better than the previous two Deadpool movies is the presence of Hugh Jackman. Because if you've ever seen Logan, the movie that kind of sets up this movie, that it's a very dark and it's a very different superhero movie in its own way, because it is almost an indie film and it is so depressing, and
he's a drunk drug addict.
Yeah, he's just a total wreck of a human being. And so when you see Hugh Jackman in this movie, he carries that weight and that gravitas because he is such a serious actor, but he's also slyly funny. And so his counterpoint to Deadpool, and especially the point in the movie where he takes down Deadpool, to the point where Deadpool doesn't have a witty comeback. You know, it really helps to kind of turn the movie in directions that you're not expecting.
Look, I laughed my ass off at 90% of the jokes, even though I didn't probably understand a lot of them. Just the delivery from Ryan Reynolds. What a likable guy and character this is, you know. And again, is every line have to be absolutely perfect? It's like Beth from Yellowstone. It drives me a little crazy. But for whatever reason, in this silly world, it works. And I had fun, but my problem with all of them is just they're all just so superhero-y. All the movies are the same thing.
Yeah, and it was great. I feel like the game is passing me by because when I watch these movies, it feels like pro wrestling to me now, because they make like when you set up the rules in your own fictional story, you can execute them however you want. You just have to keep the rules. And I feel like the rules of the modern superhero movie is nobody can die. And so we can have the most over-the-top violence but it's all this really low stakes violence, even though you just got a sword through your skull. Like it's
right. Well, and Logan died, or Wolverine died in the last movie. He's dead, and then they just kind of bring him back.
Yeah, because when superheroes regenerate and can't die, and when you have the multiverse. And there's
pull whoever
there's
out.
always another version of whatever character.
Yeah, and then
it does lower the stakes. But again,
I feel like the multiverse is now a new trick, and they started with Spider-Man, I think, but I don't know who started. Maybe Ham has a whole course he could teach on this, but yes, you had the low stakes, nobody can die, and then we added on top of it another gadget just like it called the multiverse. And so there's so many different things going on that I really I really feel like there's almost no consequences to anything, and it's a weird experience when you're trying to watch this. Clearly the pinnacle of the movie is this huge fight where something's going to be settled here. And, in old cowboy movies, not to sound like I'm 100, but in old cowboy movies, we'd have a shootout and then someone would get a bullet and they would die. And that would be how we move on the narrative. Where here, everyone gets bullets. We do it several times and then we all just heal ourselves and we move on to the next sequel.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say, again, back to the irreverence and just the style of the Deadpool movies, that both of those tropes of the multiverse and of regeneration, that they have jokes pointed directly to those things.
Yeah. No, they're aware of their jokes.
Yeah.
And
they know exactly what they are, and they know what things deserve to have holes shot in them. But in the end, everything works out the way it's supposed to.
The only thing... And I think Corby and I had this conversation after we watched the movie, is just, if you're trying to make a movie that is a blockbuster in 10 years from now, like, where do you go from that?
I know.
If you've watched that movie, they have maxed out every...
You think, though.
Like, where do you go from that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like we were talking about with Game of Thrones or House of Dragon, and just the uptick in CGI from one series to the next concerning dragons and things like that. I mean, you feel like you're at the pinnacle right now, but there's always going to be something more. We probably thought Star Wars. How can you improve on Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing, is if you do look at...
Some people would say you don't.
If you do look at the first generation of the superheroes, though, like the original Superman or Batman, or the ones from when we were in high school with Michael Keaton as Batman, and just how far it's come, there's clearly... further to go, I assume, but if you go watch Deadpool and Wolverine and you're just like, okay, what's the next generation of this going to look like? And you just start laughing because it's so ridiculous how they've maxed out everything. But yeah, you're probably right.
Did you know Wolverine was supposed to be like a 5'2" guy?
Well, that was one of the variants they showed.
Yeah, little Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Hey,
but that's how he's written in the comics. As a little tiny Wolverine, like I'm coming to get you, Wolverine.
We may have a character here.
But now they got Hugh Jackman, who's like 6'1". So
I loved it. I look forward to seeing it again.
I think I loved it. It was just I was just out of my element trying to figure it all out, because
there's a lot to follow, but there's a lot to enjoy if you don't.
I had never seen a Deadpool movie. I feel like if I had listened closer in Enews when everybody's acquiring every property, I would have got all those jokes. Like, I had no idea that we were, this guy would have been,
Fox,
this entire
Disney,
character had been, franchise had been killed until it was acquired by another movie house, and wild.
All right. Well, in all, fun.
Yeah.
I recommend it for fun, for sure. All right, Dave, let's do some community quick hits.
Are we about to get our gamble on?
Patreon.com/SportsGreek.
Here's Dave.
Thank you. So last year, I guess the last session of the Texas legislature, House Bill 2843 was introduced to legalize casino gambling in Texas.
Let's go.
Creating 8 licenses, so 8 casinos at destination resorts in major cities. Like, they were going to try and limit it to just...
Right, the biggins.
Biggins. And so it was shot down. It did not make it to a vote on the floor, and it did not make it to Governor Abbott's desk. But that doesn't mean that the idea is dead, of course, because the Sands Corporation now is the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and we all said at the time that this is all
Part of the deal.
getting ahead of legalized gambling in Texas. So just last week, officials from North Texas cities, elected officials from Irving, Arlington, and Dallas met with Sands leadership. And so Dallas City Council member Chad West said that it's gambling is an industry that, at least according to the Sands Corporation, Texas has lost billions of dollars every year to the states that surround us with legalized gambling.
No doubt.
And so he continues, he says, from a personal standpoint, I'm agnostic on gambling. However, from doing the right thing for the region, I'm in support of supporting it. Dallas should be a leader in this, just like we are in everything else, and we should be setting the stage for what it will look like. So they have this North Texas Commission, and it is an exploratory committee on gambling. So they are taking applications now, and they want to create a limited group that are members of this committee, nonprofit leaders, industry leaders, faith-based leaders. They want to get a cross-section of the community, and they will close the application process at the end of September, and they will start this committee in October, and they're going to conduct a study that could run 12 to 18 months to try and make a recommendation to the Texas legislature on how they should proceed with legalized gambling in Texas, whether or not the cities involved and the community leaders that are in the North Texas Commission, whether they recommend.
Yeah, look, it's happening.
It should be the will of the people.
It's going to happen one way or another, despite the hemming and hawing and fire and brimstone speeches that are being given right now. You're not going to defeat it forever, and you're also not going to be able to defeat the likes of Miriam Adelson and Patrick Dumont, the Mavericks owners, because they're sitting there with $40 billion in cash, and they're like, who wants it? Who wants this?
Yeah.
We're ready.
Who needs money in their campaign
We
coffers?
will grease anything and everything to get to where we want, but we have this right here. Who wants it? And eventually someone is going to bite. The politicians are, these groups. I mean, something is going to give.
It's kind of interesting, though. It has always been relayed to me that this is a conservative state, and the conservatives don't want gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this particular case, the people trying to push through the gambling are the biggest conservative donors that we've ever seen.
Right. Again.
And so it doesn't feel...
baby steps, but...
Yeah, it all comes back to the money.
Right. And so...
If you show enough money...
But this is a plot twist that the writers of this season of The West Wing have put in there that I did not anticipate.
If you show enough money to a politician,
suddenly he changes his opinion.
The politician will find a way to rationalize supporting the source of the money to his constituents and get them behind it.
And so that's
or her.
So that's the easy messaging, right? Like you go from, well, this is morally wrong. It can certainly decay the behavior of our citizens. We don't want this here. Let somebody else do it. And then you slightly twist the messaging to, bro, we're giving all the states that surround us all this money, and we're letting it out of here. And you don't want all these neighboring states to take all our money, do you? Well, no, we don't. Well, then we need to...
we need to build this.
We need to build this right now. Well, what about what you said 10 years ago about the moral decay and everything? We don't want that.
We're going to keep it nice. No riff-raffle out.
We're going to make sure that we have counselors standing by for anyone who loses their mortgage.
There's a 1-800 number.
Yes, we're going to put a disclaimer at the, the front door.
You think about even what's going on right now with just, okay, look, if I'm a basic conservative, I want limited government, right? I mean, that's a tenet that's been there forever and ever and ever. But then on this side, it is the government saying we don't want this.
Yeah, we're going to regulate this.
Right.
We don't want to regulate that, but we want to regulate this.
And you do got to regulate something. I mean, there's obviously things in the world that need regulating.
Yeah, we can't have a free-for-all.
But this is one of those things where, yeah, it's pretty logical to just look north and to look east and to look northwest, and you will see, and west, due west, everything. Everything. Every single state, contiguous state, and then separated by one, they have legalized gambling.
Not to mention online, whether it
Right.
is fantasy gaming or illegal offshore gaming.
Yeah, and to double up, they also have legalized weed in a lot of these places. Of those states, it's 75% of them. So
And they're taking our money too.
they're taking our money, and I would think that and I get it. Texas is doing fine from a business standpoint, I think, but just throwing away money like this is weird.
Well,
From a state that's always prided itself on bringing in business.
But to not lose sight of what we've been saying since the day we found out who bought the Mavericks.
Yes.
It's such a matter of time.
Absolutely. They're never, ever buying this if they aren't convinced 100% that gambling is legalized here in the short term, not long term.
Trust me, Miss Miriam did not buy the Mavericks because she loves basketball and wants to help Luka win a title. There was one reason for this play, one reason only. They paid a ton of money for the Mavericks, so they must believe there is incredible oil in those hills.
Oh my God!
That if you hand Mark Cuban almost $4 billion to acquire his stake in the team, and so just think of the overhead to make this happen. But once she got involved in our city and in our state, you could pretty much say it's already passed.
Absolutely. And they're going to have the standoffish people down in Austin saying the same thing. Not on my watch, or not over my dead
But
body.
will they?
Well,
I wonder.
Eventually, they're going to. Yeah, they may cave in some form.
Like inter-party, they'll have to get their messaging right. But
meanwhile, play the lotto.
Play the lotto,
dude,
or go bet on the horses.
Yeah.
It's
so double
weird.
standards
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
That's great.
We have one other issue, one other breaking news story out of Austin. So today, the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, agreed to a settlement. And this is the largest settlement ever obtained by a single state. $1.4 billion.
Really?
The state got the money?
Yeah. So
hold on, DJ.
So Paxton first sued Meta in 2022, and this is because since 2011, Facebook, whenever you upload a photo to Facebook and now Instagram, it'll give you tag suggestions, and it uses facial recognition software. And so Paxton said that feature violates Texas's capture or use of biometric identifiers. So that prohibits companies from taking biometric identifiers, fingerprints, voice, or facial recognition without consent. And so that's what he sued Meta for. And today they agreed for the settlement, $1.4 billion. So it'll be spaced out over 5 years. $500 million will be paid in the first 30 days. So of that, $225 will go to attorney's fees.
What about the grid?
And
this is it. This is the grid.
And then the remaining $275 will go to the General Revenue Fund. And then $225 million will be deposited into the state treasury every year through 2028. So the General Revenue Fund, money that is deposited there is not dedicated to any specific purpose, i.e. the grid, and it must be appropriated by the state legislature. So the Attorney General's office didn't say how the money will be used. But there is an infusion over the next 5 years of $1.4 billion into the state's coffers. So,
okay. That's
so maybe maybe we don't need the gambling money.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
We're just good. We're rich.
Keep suing Meta.
Quickly, last thing, I teased this yesterday. There was a guy in Lake Worth that really, really wanted to go back to prison. So
this sounds like meth.
He He had a probation officer. He had, I guess, recently got out of prison, and he called 911 on Thursday of last week. He called the Lake Worth Police Department. He said, "Hello, my name is Donald Mark Scott. I just recently got out of prison. I'm having a hard day. I'm having a hard time, you know." And so the 911 operator says, "Okay." And then so he says, "I'm sitting near Walmart with an explosive and I'm armed. I called my probation officer, but she doesn't want to come get me. So maybe you can hurry things along."
God!
And she says, "When you say hurry things along, what do you mean?" And then he hung up. So they send officers out there.
Do you lock down Walmart instantly?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know if he actually had explosives on him.
Oh, my.
The Lake Worth police chief said that we didn't know his motive. They said it's clear now through our investigation that his only motive was to go back to prison. So they arrested him Thursday. He said he placed a suspicious bag at the front of Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers out there in Lake Worth. And then he also admitted to dropping a second bag near a business on Boat Club Road. So then they go and find those bags, and they were just filled with camping and cooking items like a propane tank and a pressure cooker and some electric wiring. So it looked like it might be a pipe bomb, but it was just junk in a bag. So they were not explosive. And so finally, officers talked to his probation officer, and so he had sent her this message. He said, "I've had this plan since 2007. I have things stashed everywhere. I've been here over 24 hours. Cops play with my word. When I say planned, I mean everything, even going to prison for bank robbery." So he just had all of these things like fake bomb threats, attempted bank robbery. Like he had all these things that he was going to do until he was arrested and sent back to prison because he had no job, he had no home, and he just really wanted 3 hots and a cot.
This sounds like Brooksy.
Yeah, like Brooksy can't survive on the outside.
He can't live. How's Brooksy a bingo?
Shawshank. It's like Center Square.
No.
Yes, it is.
Not individual characters. I can name Red and Andy and not get
Bingo,
in trouble
bingo.
for bingo. No.
Also, that was across the street from my house.
Are you serious?
The Bow Club guy. Yeah.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah. I got that phone call. There's a guy with a bomb on Bow Club, and I was like, oh. Okay.
Wow.
Hey, Connor, are you there?
Okay, that's all right, Michael. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's important information. All right.